For those who are new or unfamiliar with my content, I would like to give a disclaimer. Slow Damage has an extremely self-destructive main character, and his nonchalant comments about his lack of concern for himself does trigger my nervous laughter. If you'd like to view my content that covers darker and triggering subjects like this one, please consume it responsibly and know that this content is not for minors. I want to emphasize that if you experience any of the severe symptoms that TOA does, I highly encourage that you seek professional help rather than view this playthrough. Welcome back to Slow Damage, I believe we're on part 13, correct? Well, we'll figure it out once I put the video up. Welcome back. Last episode, we reached the end of chapter 2 of REI'S route. We busted the homie Kirimizu, sent him on his merry way. Homie really needs therapy, but he's really far gone. But we got this dope painting out of it. His painting is like so good. That painting is so good. Oh man. So now we are beginning the final section of REI'S route. Well, section as in the 3rd chapter. So we're going through our last little bits here. Not last little bits, we just started. You know what I mean. So I'm quite excited. I wonder if I was supposed to, like, if it was better to do REI'S route first or Taku's. But in the end, I feel like it doesn't really matter, because obviously Taku has history with, like, more history with Toa, but Rei has also known Toa since they were in middle school, apparently. So I think those two kind of act as a double childhood friend kind of route, because I mentioned before, there's always a childhood friend figure, but they've kind of made it both. Yeah, so I say this every time, let's see how far we can get in today's part, because if we get through REI'S route, we'll be halfway through the game. Minus, I believe Kotaro has an ending too. But that'll come, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. You guys know what I mean. Okay. Ooh, alright, but yeah, last time was a party, but I'm telling you, doing Kirihara's route, Kirimizu's route, was so much easier to get through. It was more so just like I wasn't really sure where it was leading, if that makes sense. The brother wasn't really revealed until much later, unless I missed it. I mean, I could have missed it in my readings. But I wish it was just like hinted just a tad earlier. Like, I wish the foreshadowing didn't take so long, so close to the like climax of the chapter, but that is besides the point. Kirimizu was an interesting character, but he is also like he's essentially like so broken to the point of like, I'm not even sure, like sometimes those people just can't, like there's nothing else you can do for them. You just, it's gonna be a very hard rehabilitation with those guys. Asakura at least like had some semblance of sanity, and I could say the same for Ikuina, because Ikuina is just like baby stuff, you know, in comparison to ya boys Asakura and Kirimizu. Man, Kirimizu was buck wild. Oh mercy. Well, anyway, All right, so let's go. Let's go visit Rei. All right, let's see what's up. Oh boy. After the checkup, I was strong-armed into eating some yogurt and a savory pastry, then sent back to my room to rest. I dozed off for a while until Rei and Taku came to get me. Then I got dressed, and we left the clinic as a group. Agawita! In contrast with the foggy outlines of the darkened buildings, the night air was crisp. It was New Year's Eve, so there weren't many people out roaming the streets. The ones who were walked by briskly in the ones who were walked briskly in their overcoats. I feel like that's a typo. You know what? Let's go on. Don't mind that. Roost, however, was a different story. When we arrived, we found the place full of regulars and employees who welcomed us in warmly.
Happy New Year!
Honami, Happy New Year!
まだ開けてないけどニューイヤー
Junko, Happy New Year! Honami and Junko walked over to us, drinks in hand, already visibly
って
plastered.
ちょっとやだレイ
Hey!
平気なの
How am I feeling?
平気じゃないけどどうしても来たくて来ちゃったちゃんと主治医の先生付きよ
Indeed. As he spoke, Rei looked over at Taku next to us. Taku smiled stiffly. Poor thing.
お疲れさん
Like, ooh, Taku!
先生じゃない二人をよろしくお願いします
Oh, that's right. I forgot that he's popular with everybody. Cute. As Junko bowed deeply, Rei laughed.
二人とも無理しない程度に楽しんでいってね飲みすぎちゃダメよ
I mean, I'm gonna try, but you know, Toa only, like, that's all he does.
Hi.
Is drink and smoke. And paint sometimes.
先生も楽しんでいってね
Oh, he will. I don't think he will. I think he's just gonna sit down. Excuse me. Taku nodded awkwardly.
あそういえば前にレイが LED インプラント入れた高く今日すごい光ってたわよ 両腕に3つずつ入れてるのよねもうピッカピカよ
A Christmas tree.
本当探してみるわ
Oh boy.
目立つからすぐ見つかるわよ
With a quick wave to Honami and Junko, Rei set off.
すごい熱気だな。
一年を締めくくるお祭りですもの
I was gonna say, I was like, it's a New Year's party, Taku. Why is there so much energy here? Well, Taku, it's New Year's Eve party. Taku led the way through the crowd, holding up a hand to ensure no one would cut in front of us. As we worked our way to the counter, people kept flagging Rei down to talk to him, so it took a while to get there.
店長お疲れ様
Let's get it! They exclaimed as we finally arrived at the counter. The manager walked over, smiling.
レイ君、トワ君、村瀬先生って。二人ともひどい怪我だね。
You don't have to say it like that, boss, but okay. His smile quickly shifted into a look of concern.
ちょっといろいろあって
Oh, it is. It is.
お酒飲まない方がいいんじゃない？
Probably, but Toa's gonna
少
have
しだけ
some.
弱いやつちょうだい
Just a
お
little.
医者
Just a
様もいる
little.
ことだし
Rei shot a wink at Taku, who sighed and rolled his
それじゃ
eyes.
少し待っててね。
Taku's like, whatever. He's a doctor. He'll take care of you. The manager swiftly poured our drinks and offered them to
ど
us.
うぞ。
ありがとう
I pulled one close and gave it a sniff. Whiskey. Smirking at the manager's thoughtfulness, I leaned against the counter and gazed around at the bright, colorful decorations. Usually, the music in the background was slow and subdued, but today, it was upbeat.
あそういえば今日はケーキがたくさん用意されてるのよ
Oh, is there?
お前のオーダーだろ
違うわよ。いつもこういうイベントではおつまみを用意してるけど、今回はスイーツ多めなの。とは一緒に行きましょう。
Oh, okay. He doesn't like sweets though. Like, Ray set his glass down on the counter and started to saunter away. Evidently, the party mood was getting to
お
him.
い、気をつけろよ。
Yeah, like, calm down, Ray. Ray nodded, then turned and plunged into the crowd. I followed suit.
やだ、
Oh,
美味し
that
そう。
looks so good. Oh, I'm supposed to be on a diet. He walked up to the buffet table and squealed at the wide variety of cakes and treats. Personally, the mere sight was enough to give me heartburn, but he gleefully started filling his plate. Arata! Just then, Arata called out to him.
あらた、どう？楽しんでる？
Yeah, you good? You good?
でもレイ、その顔
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like... Then their gaze shifted from Ray to me, and they grimaced.
とはも
Listen, Ray got out of it a lot better than Toa did, so, you know, it's all good. Even they, still had some residual bruising. Oh, that's right, yeah, because, you know.
お互い今年は、っていうか、
December,
主に
just
年末にいろいろあ
December.
ったけど、めげずに来年も素敵な一年にしましょうね。
Yeah, let's do it! As Ray smiled wryly, Arata nodded.
さあ、Arataも食べましょう。
Nodded.
甘いの好きだっけ？
Is Arata a fan of sweets? Oh. Ray offered the plate full of cake to them.
はい、おかわり自由だし、どうぞ。
ありがとう。レイも楽しんでね。
Oh. Arata took the plate, mouthed "See-ya," and disappeared into the crowd. How big is Roost? It seems really small, but like... It is like a bar club kind of beat, you know? Ray wistfully watched them go, then grabbed a new plate and started loading it up.
ちょっと平気なの？
Yes, we're hungry.
ケーキ食べ過ぎちゃダメよ。
I mean... You say that, but... Just then, Honami and Junko walked over, both carrying plates piled high with cake. Ray smiled and raised his plate at them.
食べ過ぎないようになんて無理よ。このケーキ、誰のチョイスなの？
Let Ray have his cake!
大和屋のダブルチーズケーキがあるじゃない。わかってるわ。
あたしよ、あたし。わかってるでしょ？もう今日のために予約しといたんだから。
Junko's like, you think it'd be these fools? It was me.
普段は並ばないと食べられないのに、今日は好きなだけ食べられるなんて贅沢よね。ねえ。
Cute. Honami and Junko grinned at each other, faces flushed from the
ケーキ
booze.
といえばロイヤルシーサイドホテルのスイーツビュッフェって行ったことある？
Oh, dessert buffet.
あるある。一回だけだけどとっても美味しかったわ。
Oh, they're making me so hungry.
いいな、羨ましい。
Urayamashi.
やだ、私もまだ行ったことないの。でもあそこ予約しないと入れないのよね。
Yeah.
そうそう、ケーキがすっごく美味しいって評判だから行ってみたいわ。
He's so cute. As they talked, I sipped my drink. Then Junko suddenly pointed at me.
行けばいいじゃない。とわと。
Go, Toa. Ray donned a pointed scowl.
なんでそこでトアが出てくるのよ。
無茶ぶりしたのよ、無茶ぶり。とは静かだから。
It's true. It's true.
どこか痛いんじゃないの？
Oh, they're so sweet. Junko and Honami looked at me in concern.
全然平気。
Sensen Heiki. I answered curtly and shook my head. Satisfied, they turned back to Ray.
でもレイってほんとスイーツ大好きだし、よく食べるわよね。3食ホールケーキでもいいんじゃないのってくらい。
I believe that. I believe that.
あ、それ当たってるかも。3食ホールケーキでも全然余裕よ、私。
Don't. No. Please don't. Please. I'm begging for your health. For your personal health.
やだ化け物
Pokemon.
ひっどい甘いものが好きなだけよ
Ray's so like he's like extra bratty when it comes to like the sweets and stuff.
でも食べた分はデスマッチで発散してるのよね。そう考えるとよく食べてよく動くって肉食的ね。
Mood.
肉食系ってやつね。レイ、意外とあっちも肉食系だったりして。
Okay, alright.
あっちってどっちよ
I think I know what they're implying, but let's see. Let's see what they're implying. Each of them donned a suggestive spot. Yeah.
やだ、そんなの決まってるじゃない。
I mean, does Ray have time for that though? He seems very busy. He works like 3 jobs, doesn't
あっ
he?
ちって言ったら夜の方よね。
They said it out loud. They said it
ね
out. They said it out loud. They tilted their heads at Ray, who smirked.
どうせなら食らいつくくらいじゃないとつまんないでしょ
Oh Lord have mercy.
やだ。
なんてねこんな怪我だらけの顔で言ってもね
I mean, that is kind of attractive though, in like, you know, a rugged kind of way. Ray shrugged
タ
playfully.
クを待たせてるからそろそろ戻るわ
わかったわ。気をつけてね、レイ。またね。
またね
Mata! Johnny! Plate and fork in hand, Ray set off back toward the counter, and I followed suit.
お待たせ
すごいケーキの量だな。
Yeah, Taku's like. Taku stared wide-eyed at the mountain of cake on Ray's plate.
いっぱい持っちゃったっていうかこれトアの分もあるから
So I ain't gonna eat none of that. Ray set down a second fork I hadn't noticed him carrying.
食べるなんて言ってないけど
Yeah.
食べられないわけじゃないでしょならいいじゃないいただきます
That's true. As he spoke, he excitedly plunged his fork into the cake mountain.
タク、ほどほどにしとけよ。俺はちょっとトイレ行ってくる。
I'm gonna drive.
いってらっしゃい
Mood. Taku set his glass on the counter and walked off into the crowd. As Ray devoured his cake next to me, I leaned against the counter and sipped my whiskey, staring blankly around the room.
今する話じゃないんだけど
Oh boy. He set his fork down, his eyes carefully avoiding mine.
桐原たちにあの倉庫みたいなところで殴られてた時とは助けてくれたのよね私を殴ってる奴らを
Yeah,
煽って
that's what I seem to remember. Yes.
あの時は本当にありがとう
So sweet. I lowered my glass and swirled its contents, the half-melted ice clacking around.
お前なんであの場所にいたんだ処置室で寝てたんじゃなかったのか
You ain't wrong, you ain't wrong. He averted his gaze awkwardly.
桐原が私のお見舞いに来た時に連絡先を交換したんだけど
Oh, I see.
後からメッセージが来
I
たの
also was curious what happened, so.
新と私を襲ったのは実は自分だって最初は何言ってるのかわからなくて冗談だと思ったわ
What an interesting technique.
あの水野ちゃんがまさかって思って
Kirimizu.
どうしてそんな冗談を言うんだろうって思って電話したらなんだか様子が変で今思えばあれがあいつの本性だったからなんだけどそれで全てを話すから直接会いたいって言われてあの倉庫に呼び出されたのよ
He paused there, brows knitted tightly like he was holding back.
怪我も感知してないし一人で行くのは危ないってことは分かってたけどいても立ってもいられなく
He
て
felt it in his kokoro that he had to go.
結局何もできなくてあんたを危ない目に遭わせただ
Oh,
けだ
you're
ったわ
fine, honey. Don't you worry.
ごめんなさい
I took a sip of whiskey and set my glass on the counter.
別にそういうのはいい
That's right.
でも
済んだことだろ。それでも気が収まらないっていうなら、酒とタバコを買ってきてくれ。
That's my boy. That's my boy. Never change. His frown faded and he looked back at me.
ちゃんとご飯も食べなさいよ。
気が向いたらな。
If I feel like it.
もう。
His smile returned and he went back to his cake. Indeed. As the lively party wore on, midnight quickly approached. But Taco insisted that Ray and I both go home early to rest, so we all left the bar. After Taco went home, however, Ray made a quiet suggestion. He told me he and his buddies were planning to ring in the new year together. Oh yes, good. I was planning to head back to the clinic myself, but he forced me to tag along with him. Apparently, this plan involved drinking and watching the sunrise from the roof of a closed school building. We bought some cheap booze from the local corner store, then walked to the school. Ooh, peaceful. After we jumped the rusty fence, we tried the front doors, but they were locked. Then one of them mentioned the rear entrance was unlocked, so we ran around the back. Sure enough, the lock was broken on the employee entrance, so we got in without any trouble. Then we climbed the stairs until we arrived at the rooftop door. Either its lock was also broken, or someone had simply forgotten to lock it because it opened just as easily. Together we walked out onto the spacious roof.
やだ、学校の屋上なんて久しぶり。懐かしいわ。っていうか寒。
How cute. Squinting into the chilly winter wind, Ray approached the safety fence.
レイ、平気？
Yeah, you okay, fam? Yeah.
辛くなったら言ってね。
Mood.
うん。ありがとう。
懐かしい気分に浸りながら新年を迎えるって、
Yeah.
なんだか不思議な気分。
Not day, bro.
斬新な感じがするわ。新しいわ。
Fresh start, let's go.
新しい年を迎えるのよ。新しい気分の方がいいに決まってるわ。でもその前に酔いが冷めそう。
Oh my gosh. Junko took some.
寒いね。
寒いわ。だから飲むわよ。
Drink up, fam. Arata rubbed their arms to stay warm, while Honami and Junko popped the tabs on their drinks. I stood a short distance away from the others, gazing beyond the fence at the city below. Jinkomi was a place where lust, envy, and hatred piled up, festered and decayed. My bad. The downtown casino area was covered in garish neon, and the residential district was peppered with high-rise condo buildings blanketed in the city's shadows of night. I would never call this twisted view beautiful, but that probably was why a guy like me felt right at home here. Some fish just can't survive in clean water. Some of us belong in the mud and grit.
昔を思い出すわね。
The next thing I knew, Ray was standing beside me. With one hand on the fence, he gazed down at the town, smiling faintly.
高校は別だったけど、中学校は一緒だったのよね。って、トアは全然覚えてないんだっけ
Homeboy has amnesia.
もう、ほんと失礼しちゃうわよね。私は覚えてる。
He looked at me and made a show of pouting his lips.
じゃあ、通学の板線は伊丹先生。
What about
髪ボサボサでメガネかけたおっさんね。
Ita-san, middle-aged guy. Okay.
もともと気味悪がられてたんだけど、生徒の女の子を盗撮したことがバレて
cut that dude.
退職になったやばい先生。テレビのニュースにもなったし、学校中ですごい大騒ぎになったのよ。覚えてない？
I mean, did they?
全然。
本当に？いくらなんでも忘れすぎじゃない？記憶喪失ってレベルよ、それ。
Ray, yes.
そうかもな。
Ray. I shrugged and he frowned slightly.
まあ、わからなくもないけどね。学生時代なんて、私もそんなにいい思い出ないし。
He fell silent and the conversation came to an end. Oh. Just then, a low-pitched bell began to resound in the distance.
ジョヤの鐘が始まったわ。
Oh yes.
全部聞いて煩悩を打ち消してもらわなきゃ。
To cleanse our earthly
108
desires.
回よね。
That's funny that they're talking about it, but they live in
108じゃ足りない
Shinkomi.
だろ。
Oh boy. At this, he started to shake the fence in pretend fury.
足りないわ。全然。トアもそうでしょ。
Ouchies.
そもそも金ごときじゃどうにも。
So he's right, he's right.
鐘の音じゃ消えないくらい深くて危ない煩悩ってことね。
Some? Oh, if only you knew, Ray. If only you knew. He smiled up at the night sky like he was searching for the source of the sound. As each deep brassy chime resonated and faded, I scanned the nightscape. Just then, I caught sight of Ray's hand out of the corner of my eye.
それ、だいぶ治ったな。
え？
Ah. He shot me a puzzled look.
爪、ひどいことになって
Oh,
た。
cute! Whenever Ray got stressed, he had a bad habit of biting his nails. After Kirimizu's group attacked him, he chewed them so short he barely had anything left. They still had yet to grow out fully, but they were looking a lot better. Oof, yeah, he must have been real bad. Snapping to his senses, he pulled his hand away from the fence and balled it into a fist like he was trying to conceal his fingertips.
トアって大雑把なのに変なところはしっかり見てるわよね。
Of course. He smiled wryly, and I could sense his embarrassment and regret.
あの時は自分でも思ってた以上にショックだったのよ。
Well, it's a very stressful situation, so I really don't blame Ray.
でもさっきのトアの言葉を借りるならもう済んだことよ。
I mean, you still need to process it, honey, and you're still injured, but okay.
それに新年はすぐそこまで来てるわ。昔の嫌なことは忘れて新しい一年を楽しく生きるのよ。
Let's go, fam. Sorry, I'm so dry. As he grinned smugly, his three friends came running over.
そうよそうよ、楽しく行きましょう。
Alright, besties.
明るい未来万歳よ。
Their coats
煩
are so
悩なんて
cute.
消えなさい。
Oh, okay, work, Junko. Apparently, they'd overheard us talking. Their previous spot was now littered with empty cans, and I could smell alcohol on the wind. While Junko and Honami goofed off and Aratai laughed, Ray stood at the fence and stared down all the city. His expression was perfectly blank. I shot a glance at him, then took one final look at the state of Shinkomi as the new year arrived. Slow damage. Work. It was now January 1st, New Year's Day. After we watched the sunrise, Ray and I both headed back to the clinic. He was practically falling asleep, so he collapsed onto my bed without even taking his coat off. Ah! Once he started snoring, I had a little more to drink, then fell asleep on the sofa. For once, possibly because of all the drinking, I didn't have any dreams. A few hours later, when I woke, the sun was high in the sky. I hadn't had any time to rest after finishing my latest painting, so I was feeling even more lethargic than usual. I sat up on the sofa, grabbed my cigarettes, and lit one up. Oops. Why do I keep clicking the right button? Sorry. Ooh, Happy New Year. Trapped in a vicious cycle of debt. Okay. As I exhaled the smoke, Ray started to stir.
Ohayo.
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 Akemashite omedetu.
It's good, go back to sleep. You're okay, you're okay. After a loud yawn, he hopped out of bed, rubbing his eyes.
初詣に行きたかったんだけど、だるいわ。ちょっと羽目を外しすぎちゃったわね。
You think, Ray? You think?
初詣は明日にして、今日は家でのんびりしましょう。でも。
He seemed to remember something because his sleepy face shifted in suspicion. He walked to the fridge and opened it.
やっぱり飲み物しか入ってない。
How am I
こ
supposed
れじゃ
to
何
buy
も
me
作れない
groceries?
わ。
We groceries.
酒がある。
Yeah, we've got that.
正月早々何言ってるのよ。
He shot me an exasperated glare, then shut the fridge and folded his arms.
仕方ないわね。家へ行きましょう。今日はどこもお店が閉まってるし、そもそも買いに行くのも面倒だし。私の部屋ならいろいろあるから。
I started to suggest we have booze for breakfast, but I fell silent. Sure, it was a hassle to leave the clinic, but it'd be an even bigger hassle if Gray got pissy with me. Ultimately, I decided to go with him. Outside, the sky was clear and blue, and the bright sunshine added a hint of warmth to the winter air. Ray swung a leg over his motorcycle, parked in the parking lot, and I hopped on behind him. Ooh, let's go. We both put our helmets on, then he revved the engine and we were off. Traffic was lighter today, so we rolled along smoothly until we arrived at Ray's condo building. In Shikomi, cheap mass-produced high-rise condos were the primary form of housing for the masses. Alright, work. But Ray's place wasn't one of them. His rent was on the pricey side, and the building itself was actually up to code. Since he held multiple part-time jobs, however, he never seemed to have any money troubles. Hey, give me some. Give me some money. This was only my second time visiting his place. We cut through the lobby to the elevator, got off on the 6th floor, and walked down the hallway. At the very end, we arrived at room 606.
いらっしゃい。
Irasai. He unlocked the door and carefully sauntered in. Once he switched on the lights, I followed him inside. I took my shoes off at the door, then walked down the short hallway to the living room.
準備するから適当に座ってくつろいでていいわよ。
With that, he headed to the kitchen. The living room interior was styled like a classy bar or cafe with no dim mood lighting. It was clear at a glance that every single piece of furniture was carefully chosen. In the corner of the room was a bookshelf packed full of books. These photo collections and how-to guides were centered around Rei's favorite aesthetic, body modification. Tattoos, piercings, implants, you name it. As I gazed around the room, Rei worked swiftly to whip up a meal.
さてと、新年一発目は何を作ろうかしら。ま、あんたには聞かないわよ。どうせ酒かタバコか何でもいいなんだから。
He was right, of course. I ignored him and walked to the bookshelf, where I pulled out a book at random, then sat down at the table. I decided to kill time by flipping through a collection of photos that would easily turn your stomach if you weren't already numb to it.
Hi, お待たせ。できたわよ。
Oh, you were in that anyway. About 30 minutes later, Rei set a plate of food on the table in front of me. I closed the book and set it to the side. A pleasant smell wafted up to my nose.
あり合わせで簡単にできて美味しいものってことで、親子丼にしてみました。
Normally, Oyakodon was served in a bowl. Since it was on a plate, it just kind of looked like a chicken omelet. Then he set a bowl of miso soup and a glass of brown liquid on the table. I grabbed the glass and raised it to my nose. It smelled like oolong tea.
酒は
何言ってるの？
Isn't
親子丼ならお茶でしょ？って言ってもウーロン茶しかないんだけど。
Uh-huh. He sounded like a fussy mom as he sat down across the table from me. Then he noticed the book I had set aside on the table.
あら、この本に興味あるの？
適当。
Just flipping through. He made a show of pouting his lips.
だと思った。トアは傷だらけだけど、別に傷を作ること自体に美学を感じてるわけじゃないんだものね。つくづくもったいないわ。ってその話は置いておくとして、食べましょう。新年の初ご飯よ。いただきます。
With that, he grabbed his chopsticks and started eating. Slowly, I picked up my own chopsticks and sank them into the steaming oyakodon.
暴飲暴食明けの胃に優しい味だし、最高。
He swooned for a moment, then shot a probing look at me.
ね、どう？おいしい？
This is a trick question. What are you asking? Sorry. Oh gosh, I'm so much more at peace in Rei's front than I am in Taku's front right now. I just feel so much more at peace. So I can make constant inappropriate and crude jokes now. Instead of crying all the time and sweating. And not in the sexy way. I was eating slowly, but at least I was eating it. For some reason, I found myself willing to ingest it. Maybe I liked the taste. Rei gazed at me rapturously for a moment, like he was touched beyond words. You're eating, Toa. Like, he is elated anytime.
やだ。ちょっと感動。あんたがちゃんとご飯食べてくれるなんて。
He's cracking me up. Okay.
いつも食べてるだろ。
He's not wrong. It's not wrong.
食べない時もあるじゃない。でもまあ、私が作ったご飯はだいたい食べてくれてるか。
まあな。
手料理に文句やケチつけないところはあんたのいいところだと思うわよ。
I can appreciate that you don't insult me, but you know, it is what it is. We continued to chat as we ate, punctuated by slurps of soup. Then Rei finished his food ahead of me.
あー、美味しかった。デザートのアイス用意するわね。
Oops. He grabbed his dirty dishes and headed to the kitchen. By the time I finally finished my food, he returned with what looked like mochi balls on a plate.
はい、どうぞ。
Dozo. He set the plate in front of me and started eating. Apparently it was mochi with ice cream inside. But instead of reaching for the ice cream, I pulled out my pack of cigs. This provoked a sharp glare from Ray.
うちは禁煙よ、禁煙。
Honestly, same. I'd be like, excuse you? Not in my house. Reluctantly, I put my cigarettes away. Then I silently pushed the plate of mochi in his direction.
いらないの？
Why are you asking? Sorry. I know it's just like, it's probably just like a habit of Ray to be like, you don't want any, even though it's Toa. And you're just like, okay.
しょうがないわね。まあご飯は食べたからいいか。
It's true. At least, yeah. He finished his share of the mochi, then started on mine.
ああ、お腹いっぱい。お腹いっぱいになるとなんだか眠くなっちゃわない？
He's gonna take a nap.
らしいな。
So,
トアはお腹いっぱい食べることがないものね。でね、眠くなると今度はふわふわしたものが食べたくなるの。
okay.
だからこのデザートはぴったりなのよ。
Okay. He had a dreamy look on his face.
俺はタバコの方がいいけどな。
タバコは100害あって一理なしじゃない。ちっとも美味しくないし。
Well, okay, I don't know from experience, but my mother once told me that when she was younger, living in the motherland, sorry, she when she and my aunt tried to buy cigarettes for the old lady that did their laundry. But one day they were like, I wonder why, like, it must taste really good because she smokes it a lot. But she was a little, you know, old ladies in the Philippines, they're buck wild, you know. So, the old ladies would, like, put flavoring on the front of the cigarette where they light it, and then they would turn it around and smoke it backwards because they're hardcore. So, my mom and aunt were just like, okay, let's try to get some. And so apparently it was flavored. Again, it's flavored, so it probably did taste pretty good to some extent. But Toa probably just smokes like, you know, regular cigarettes. I also have an aunt who's like, she's a hard chain smoker, so she smokes like the slim guys or whatever. But anyway, the point is, the point is that, you know, Ray wouldn't, I mean, maybe Ray does know, but Ray probably hasn't had that many to be able to be like, they don't taste good. But yeah, I don't know from experience. It's my assumption because there's flavored ones, and some people like the smell of cigarettes, but not the taste of them. Or like the, you know, the lingering scent of cigarette smoke. Not exactly cigarettes themselves. Personally, I can't stand like people as they're smoking cigarettes, but like the lingering scent of like smoke is fine. But anyway, that's my tangent for the day. That is Toe's asking the right questions here.
あるわよ、昔ね。でもまずくてすぐにやめたわ。
He stacked up the dirty dishes and carried them into the kitchen, then returned with 2 mugs of hot coffee.
はい、インスタントだけど。
Why are you acting like Toa cares if it's bougie or not? I'm giving Ray such a hard time, but it's only because he's like, I think it's just because you know, in nitro+chiral games, it's like the nicest guy is really easy to tease because like all the other guys are crazy, so that's usually how it goes. That's usually the formula. But so he's nice, so I'm teasing him. It's not that deep, but he's quite sweet. So I easily preferred coffee to dessert, so I took the mug and sipped the hot bitter liquid. Likewise, Ray took a small sip, then held the mug in both hands as he fell into into thought. I almost said into the the simple and clean ocean.
ねえとは私ね
Uh-oh, the song.
今はとっても
the music
楽
stopped.
しいし幸せだって思ってるけどふとした時に不安になることがあるの
Wait, what is he?
昨日もそ
What is he talking about? I'm like, wait, what? His softly fluttering eyelashes cast small shadows over his pale cheeks. Okay, work.
うみんなでワイワイ騒いでる時に急にね明日すべてが変わってしまったらどうしよう
Ah, yes.
そんな風に思ったりもして
Essentially intrusive thoughts. Okay. That would explain why he'd seemed so forlorn when he was looking out at the city last night.
気が弱くなってるな
You're going soft. He looked up and smiled wryly at me.
そうかもしれないわあの時は本当に死ぬって思ったし
Well, yeah, to be
それ
fair.
に桐原もも
Not Kirimizu. Yeah, to be fair, I mean, he almost had like a near-death experience type of beat.
うそのせいで少し弱ってるのかもしれないでもどうしても考えちゃって
Yeah, that's called trauma, honey. Like, that's...
どんなに悪いことをしてもそうじゃなくても
Mm-hmm.
死んだら終わりよ
Yeah.
人の命も人生もいつどこで変わるか終わるかわからない
Ah, yes, the existential crisis of one's mortality. I see.
だからただ時間が過ぎるっていう変化ですらとても怖いの
Which is quite interesting, but like, I don't know, Rei is from Shinkomi is what I've gathered. So is Toa. Taku, I think, is from the mainland, but he moved to Shinkomi. Taku's older, so he moved to Shinkomi, but interesting. Okay, sorry, I'm just gathering my information as we play. He bit his lip and squeezed his eyes shut. I watched him silently for a moment, then let out a sigh.
死ぬ目にはあっても生きてるだろ
He's right. But that's not what happened.
運よくね
You could have, but that's not what happened. He opened his eyes a crack, a half smile playing at his lips, then averted his gaze.
トアは過去をほとんど覚えてないって言うけど私は過去を覚えていてもあまりいい思い出がないのよ
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Toa's kind of like half a husk right now because he lacks a lot of memories. Whereas Rei, like, yeah, Rei's right. Well, I don't know much about Rei's past right now besides him being bullied a lot. Because he's the half white boy.
家のことや学校のこといっそ全部消してしまいたいくらい
Interesting. I'd heard bits and pieces of Rei's history. As a kid, he was androgynous to the point of being misgendered, and as a preteen, people made assumptions about him. His parents got divorced when he was young, and he went with his father. Oh, that's a thing. Unfortunately, the man was a raging bigot who had no respect for his girly-looking son.
でもトアと同じ中学に通ってたことは嫌な思い出じゃないわよそれがあるから今の私があると言っても過言じゃないし
Oh, that's so sweet.
大げさだな
Toa, you don't remember Toa. You can't input any opinions because you don't remember. He looked me in the eye and smiled.
私にとって肯定できる過去ってとっても大事なのよとにかくそんな楽しいことが少なかった人生の中で今はとっても楽しい充実してる
That's right, boo.
だから
That's right, boo.
怖いの
So what I'm hearing is that Rei just has like hard abandonment issues. Which understandable. If he came from like, the implication is that his father is abusive, right? And then he's a child of divorce. Grew up in Shinkomi, which is not the best place for a child to grow up, honestly, but you know. Okay, I'm understanding. The pieces are coming together, baby. Okay. He muttered under his breath, then fell silent. For a moment, all was quiet. I drank about half of my coffee, then rose to my feet. Maybe.
タバコを吸いがてら。
I gotta go. I gotta smoke. I love Toa. Toa cracks me up. Okay. He followed me to the door.
飯とコーヒー、うまかった。
It was good. In the entryway, I slipped into my shoes, then turned back to face him.
またクリニックでね。
また。
あ。
じゃあね。
話聞いてくれてありがとう。
He's so sweet. I want to know about these death matches, bro. He gazed at me sadly. I nodded, turned, and left his condo without another word. I worry about that boy. Slow damage. Sorry. Alright. As far as seasons went, I didn't much care for winter. Not because I couldn't tolerate the cold. If anything, I preferred the biting chill to sweltering, suffocating heat any day. So why did I dislike it? Honestly, I couldn't tell you. For some reason, maybe the temperature change, winter made me feel sick and achy all over. All things considered, I couldn't claim to like it. Halfway through January, the New Year's spirit faded and the city slowly went back to its usual misery. The injuries I sustained during Kirimizu, sorry, I have to call him Kirimizu. I cannot forget the memory of Kirimizu. Okay, if I say Kirihara, it's erasing Kirimizu. Sorry, it's not important. He's not that important. His painting is bussin' though. I wanted to say awesome, but it's bussin', not awesome. It's a step above. The injuries I sustained during Kirihara's euphoric episode had mostly healed, so I returned to work at the clinic. Today, I was scheduled to work in the afternoon, but Raiden shoved for his morning shift, so Taku woke me up to cover for him. Shortly after the clinic opened for morning appointments, we got a call from Ray, who claimed to have overslept. Normally, he was always perfectly punctual, so it was highly unusual. When he realized I was the one who answered the call, he apologized at least a dozen times. Interesting. He was scheduled to work at REI'S that night, so he couldn't switch shifts. After New Year's, the clinic was swamped with patients, but now that a couple weeks had passed, things had calmed down again. I could handle it on my own just fine, so I quietly did my work as if it was any other day. That evening, I ended my shift once Arata came in. Oh, Arata came in to replace me. Lord have mercy. I am so sorry. Ray had invited me out to roost with the promise of a free drink, so I headed back to my place to get ready, then left the building. But when I arrived at Roost, Ray was nowhere to be seen. Interesting. I sat down at the deserted counter and made eye contact with the manager.
Toa-kun, irashai.
Irashai.
Rei wa?
Where's Ray?
スタッフルームでボディアート希望のお
Having a
客さん
body
と
art
見
consultation.
積もりの
Oh my
話をしてる
lord.
よ。
I nodded in understanding.
何飲む？お任せ。
I mean, what is it gonna be? Whiskey again?
あ
Whiskey or absinthe again? With a knowing grin, he promptly started to make my drink. Right as I set my pack of cigs on the counter, Ray walked out from the back with a guy I didn't recognize.
それじゃ施術したい日が決まったら連絡してね。
Oh? Apparently, this guy was Ray's client. He bowed and left the
あ
bar.
らとは、いらっしゃい。
Then Ray spotted me and walked to the counter.
今日はごめんね。ありがとう。正月明けでクリニックも忙しかったでしょう。
He healed pretty fast. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just realized. Sorry.
一杯おごるわ。もう注文した？
Did I? Oh, yeah,
お
yeah.
任せでオーダーもらってるよ。
He has asked me to surprise. Sorry. The manager set my glass down in front of me.
じゃあ、それは私のおごりで。
了解。
どうも。
I grabbed the glass, toasted Ray and the manager, then took a sip.
それにしても、まさか寝坊するとは思わなかったわ。
It's okay, I feel that way.
と、自分で自分にがっかり。
It's okay, I feel you, honey. It's all good. Grimacing, Ray put one hand on the counter and let out a dramatic sigh.
私、自分が遅刻するのってほんとダメなのよ。人の遅刻は気にならないんだけど。
I mean, I understand. I understand that. You know. Except I both hate when I and other people. Well, I should take. These days, like, depends on the lateness. Depends on the severity of the lateness, because I too have been pretty bad about being late because I haven't been in the best of health, but which is still not like a good excuse. It's just, you know, I don't like that I'm late often these days, but I'm pretty forgiving about like a little bit of lateness, but like it's another thing to be like, hi, I am an hour and 45 minutes late. I'm 2 hours late. That's a different story. So I'll even, you know. Anyway, let's continue. Sorry, that's my other tangent for today.
おやレイ君、自分に厳しいタイプなの？
なのかしらね。人のことはいいんだけど、自分が決めたことは絶対に守りたいの。守れないと嫌なの。
Yes, I see.
珍しいね。
A
他人に
complex.
厳しく自分に甘いタイプはよく見るけど。
Well, I mean, it's hard to like control other people. I think that's the thing. It's like you can't like make people do things. You can only like try and suggest, right? Or try and convince. Like you can't really convince people or force them to do things they don't really want to do. It just doesn't work. Like you can tell them like, hey, I don't really like it that you're late, but it all depends on them if they care enough to no longer be late when it comes to you. You know what I mean? So
自分を甘やかすとすぐダメになっちゃいそうな気がして。私、自分を信じてないから。
poor thing.
そうなんだ。
As I listened to them talk, I lit a cigarette. Then I heard the door open.
いらっしゃい。あら、五十嵐くん。
The only light in this dark, dark world. At this, I glanced over my shoulder.
あ、父さん来てるんすね。
Oh, Igarashi, the only light in my life. Igarashi spotted me and walked over with a friendly smile.
隣、いいっすか？
Sure, honey. I nodded and he plopped down on the empty seat beside me.
注文は？
What will we have?
ジントニックを。
Gin and tonic, baby.
はい。店長、ジントニック。
Okay. Igarashi bowed his head to the manager, then Rei, then me.
明けましておめでとうございます。
Happy New Year!
おめでとう。今年もよろしくね。
よろしくっす。いやー、レイさんもトアさんも正月にやってたやつ見ました？
What did it do?
正月にやってたやつ？
見てないんすか？ありがとうございます。
The manager handed him a drink. He took it, then returned to the conversation.
正月にやってたじゃないですか。伝説の男たちシリーズ一挙放送。
What are you talking about, Igarashi?
伝説ああ、それってヤクザ映画？
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I understand. I understand now. I was just like, what are you talking about?
そうっす。もう最高なんすよ。見たことあります？
No. It's like, I don't think so. As Igarashi fixed him with a hopeful look, Rei smiled dryly.
あんまりっていうか全然そんなに興味ないし。
マジっすか。すっごいかっこよくってしびれるんで、今度騙されたと思って見てみてくださいよ。ほんと熱いんで。
Igarashi is like, the only straight dude here. I may be wrong, but right now he's given like sorry. Igarashi leaned forward eagerly, clutching his hands into fists. Rei recoiled slightly.
でもほら、そういう人たちが身近な町に住んでるわけだし。
Yeah, but that's different.
リアルを知ってるだけに。
It's different.
フィクションだとそりゃかっこいいんでしょうけど。
Duh, that's the point, Rei.
いやいや。組の中にもマジでかっこいい人たちっていますから。
It's no fiction.
全部が全部フィクションってわけじゃないっすよ。
I love Igarashi.
例えば？
Who?
榊さんも遠野さんもそうですし、今はいないけど、マダラメさんだってすごかったんすよ。
Madarame? I've seen Fujieda, but Madarame I haven't seen him like at all. So.
マダラメって。
Yeah, who's Madarame? Rei shot me a look, but I didn't meet his eyes. Instead, I took a long drag.
トアさんが組にいた頃は、マダラメさんとよくつるんでましたよね。
Oh, Toa doesn't remember anything, honey. When I didn't answer, Igarashi sensed the awkward tension and hastily kept talking.
まあそんな感じで。あのシリーズは面白いんで、ぜひ見てほしいっす。
I see.
そうね。
I could still feel Rei's eyes on me, but I continued to ignore him. I didn't like to think about the time I spent in the Takasato Gumi, especially if it pertained to Madarame. Oh, so he remembers Madarame. Sorry.
そういえば新作、トアさんの絵。あれって新作っすよね。
Oh yeah, baby, it's brand new.
去年はなかった気がするし。
If he's talking about the Kirimizu painting. Desperate to avoid any awkward silence, Igarashi pointed to the painting on the wall. It was my painting of Kirimizu. I am eliminating his existence.
よく気づいたわね。
By making him Kirimizu only.
そりゃ俺もトアさんの絵好きっすから。
Everybody's a fan of Toa's art, honey. Like, it ain't special. But...
意外。五十嵐くんってそういうタイプに見えないのに。
Toa's art is dope. What are you talking about, right?
そうっすか？興味あるからルーストにも来てるんすよ。
See? Exactly.
じゃあ、そっちの写真はど
う？ Oh yeah, yeah. Rei pointed to a photograph on display featuring multiple piercings embedded in someone's stomach. It was surrounded by similar photos of eyelid piercings, black tribal tattoos, and so on. Igarashi's smile stiffened.
嫌いじゃないっすけど、強烈ですよね。
ダメってこと？
ダメとまでは言わないっすけど、俺にはまだちょっと早いかもしれないっす。
Body mods aren't for everybody. It sometimes is like like Igarashi says, it's a little too intense. But art like Toa's, even though it's made from extremely severe situations, it's easily palatable because they're essentially very vague paintings. So it's like you couldn't, unless you thought really hard about it, you weren't like, so this is the painting that was inspired by the time this dude was cutting me open and I let him do it. Like, that I don't think ever anyone like goes down that route. You know what I mean?
そうなんだ。残念。それ私の作品なのよ。
Poor thing. Poor thing. Igarashi leapt up in his seat and looked from Ray to the photographs and back, eyes wide.
この写真を撮ったのがってことっすか？
違う違う。
じゃあピアスをはめたりタトゥーを彫ったりしたのがレイさん？
そうよ。やだ。そんなに意外？
Well, I mean, it does. He's got hard gap moe, so like it's just like, oh, I'm really nice and mild mannered, but I like to beat dudes up on the weekend in my spare time, and then I also like to do really intense body mods. Like yeah. So same with Taku. Like, but Taku is just like. Like I swear Taku is just like a highly depressed workaholic.
意外ですよ。だってレイさん全然そういう感じに見えないし。
I love you, Igarashi.
私自分を改造することには興味ないのよ。人に施してこそっていうのがポリシーなの。
Ray rested a hand against the counter.
生きている人間の肉体を着飾るってそう簡単にはできないことじゃない？
No, true.
それに皮膚や筋肉の触り心地、伸び具合、色から質感まで全てが同じ人間なんてどこにもいないのよ。だから私は常に世界でただ一つのキャンバスに触れさせてもらってるの。
He ain't wrong.
いつもオンリーワンの作品を生み出すことができるなんて最高に素敵なことじゃない？
He has a point though. He has a point. It's kind of like hand making things, like as an artist, like traditional art, like no matter how much you try to imitate something, unless it's like a mass produced kind of situation, but no matter how much you try to replicate something like yourself again, it's never gonna really be the same. It's always gonna be like a little different. Even with like screen printing prints, it's like it's always gonna be ever so slightly different. So
でも同じものが世界に2つとないからこそ慎重に丁寧にどうすればその人に最も似合うものになるかを考えなきゃいけないの。絶対に失敗できないし、それも含めてとっても刺激的なのよね。奥が深くて芸術面から見ても面白いと思うの。ね、そう思わない？
そうっすね。そうかもしれないっすね。
Now was Igarashi's turn to recoil.
じゃあレイさん的にトアさんはどうなんすか？
Out of nowhere, he shifted the subject to me. I shot him a sidelong glance as I crushed my cigarette in the ashtray.
トアは私が手を加えなくてももう自分で勝手に完成してるじゃない？傷だらけの体って、それだけで一つの芸術作品よね。
That's the truth. That's the truth.
なるほど。それはなんかわかる気がします。
でも。
Oh. Ray narrowed his eyes in contemplation. Then he grabbed my hand and pressed it against the counter. Oh, I didn't realize we were getting spicy so quickly. He leaned down and carefully scrutinized the scars on the back of my hand.
なんだよ。
この傷の角度はいいんだけど、もう少し、あと少しだけ下にずれてたらっていつも思うのよね。
Oh. He traced his index finger over the trajectory of my scar. Yes.
そうっすか。
Igarashi still looked uncomfortable.
なんだか暴れたくなってきちゃった。
Ray let go of my hand and stretched his arms wide.
お店が終わったらデスマッチエリアへ行こうかしら。
Oh boy.
いいっすね。たくさんぶちのめしてきてくださいよ。
Igarashi will get whooped. He get his booty whooped over there.
もちろん。五十嵐くんも一緒にってちょっと無理よね。
No way, Ray. This dude is gonna get snapped in two. Homeboy gonna get snapped in two. Igarashi shook his head sadly. He cannot go there. The Takasato Gumi turned a blind eye to death matches as a recreational sport since it was a healthy outlet for the citizens' stress. But if people started living or setting up shop in that area, they might start to organize, so the Takasato Gumi kept watch periodically. While the gang had no intention of shutting the place down, they were still an unwelcome presence for most fighters. Thus, Igarashi couldn't participate due to his gang affiliation.
とわは行くわよね。
I don't know. Should we go? Ray's tone was so matter-of-fact, I glared at him over my glass. He gets, Toa gets pretty sassy if pushed enough, because he's usually very apathetic, but he gets kind of sassy if you push him enough.
なんで俺が。
別に参加しろなんて言ってないし、行くだけならいいじゃない。とわ、喧嘩好きでしょ？
I mean, if Toa's like, I'm not gonna go there. Sorry. For real, but like, if Toa's getting punched, like with Kirimizu, like if they're fighting, Toa explained to Kirimizu that he was like, well, he likes it when people do things to him, but if the situation calls for it, he'll do something back. But he's not like out here like Rei, who uses it as a pastime. Like Toa has a different intention, right? So yeah, he doesn't really like fighting himself. It's more of like a, if they fight me, then that kind of situation. So technically it wasn't fighting that I liked, but it was too much hassle to get into the details, so I sipped my whiskey without responding.
さあ、今日もたくさん暴れちゃうわよ。
Right, please.
レイさんかっこいい。
Igarashi, please. He raised both fists in a victory pose, and Igarashi cheered. Rolling my eye, I downed the rest of my whiskey. Slow damage. No. To the death. I was wondering when we would get here, because I was just like, we're definitely gonna have to go here and raise route, because this is like a big part of his personality. So after his shift at Roost, Ray and I walked over to the deathmatch area. Then we met up with his buddies, and together we all headed in deeper. Like us, there were other groups wandering around. If two such groups encountered each other, a fight was sure to start. According to the rules of the game, combatants fought one-on-one. Likewise, Ray's group would conduct their duels individually. The only reason they traveled in a group was to ensure someone was always around to help in case of an emergency. Work! They look spicy. What? Okay, hold on. Dang, ma. They looking spicy. Okay. Ray's team consisted of his co-workers from Roost. They were normally friendly people, but here, everything about them changed. Their smoke darkened, and I could feel their thirst for chaos. Oh yeah, look at that go. Look at it go. I love the pants. As we walked along, another group challenged us. Man, okay, ma. Sheesh. In seconds, they matched up against each other. Anyone left without an opponent would stand back and join the audience. Ray was already eyeing his competitor. They slowly closed in, waiting for the perfect moment, and then... Love that. Okay. I'm into it. With Ray's roar as their cue, the fighters all leapt into action. There were no strict requirements for fighting style, other than the tacit understanding that firearms were prohibited. Work. No guns. Reason being that they ruined the fun of the game. Even on the off chance someone did bring a gun, they would be outed to the entire community as a coward, and that label would stay with them permanently. Work. We love bullying. Oh boy. I stood among the crowd having a smoke and watching Ray fight. I can just imagine Toa just like standing there with like a cigarette in his mouth, and everybody's like, yeah! and Ray and Toa's just like swaying in the direction of the crowd because he doesn't care. Oh, it cracks me up. His opponent leapt into an all-out offensive right out of the gate, but Rei used his footwork skills to dodge, occasionally retaliating with a punch or kick. His opponent used both arms to block, but wasn't able to negotiate the full impact of Rei's blows, so he was forced to go on the defensive. These outfits are lit! With his lips curled in a smirk, Rei provoked his opponent while continuing his barrage. All these like NPC fighter dudes, like I swear, all you gotta do is like sock them in the nose once and they'll start bleeding. Like, you know, that's like the best way to knock them out, you know? I'm terrible. Overpowered, the other man attempted to hold his ground. He lowered his arms and charged forward in a last-ditch struggle. The guy slammed his shoulder into Rei's torso. Then as Rei staggered, his opponent drove his fist into Rei's face. Not Rei's face! Not his face. That's his moneymaker. Terrible. Rei shoved him away and leapt back. Grinning, he spat the blood out of his mouth. Good work, okay. The sexiness levels went up, baby. With that, he came charging in to take a swing. His opponent went for another tackle to try to knock him off balance, but this time, Rei knew to dodge. Not only that, but he retaliated with a fierce elbow drop. Okay, yeah. Yeah, let's go. After that, Rei spent the rest of the match pummeling him. Yeah, work! Yeah! That's it. The guy couldn't get a single hit in. Meanwhile, Rei beat him unconscious and had a great time doing it. That's my boy. His usual friendly vibes had vanished, and now he was pouring every last ounce of his soul into this beatdown. As I gazed at his deranged, toothy grin, I felt a faint ache deep inside. In the past, he had told me he loved the feeling of bones breaking against his fist. Oh. Oh boy. Every time I watched him fight, I felt the urge to paint him. Okay. Having finished his fight, he tilted his head back and exhaled into the sky, then he shook the blood from his knuckles. Despite the freezing temperature outside, his forehead was dripping with sweat. The other pairs hadn't finished yet, but he ignored them. Shoulders heaving, he walked straight to me.
Not the gap moe. Not the gap moe.
His fierce attitude had evaporated, and he was back to his happy-go-lucky self. Was I hot? Is that the real question you want to ask, Rei? He's like, was I hot though? He kept peppering me with questions, so I just nodded. More. More. I love that. Frustrated by my lack of response, Rei made a show of pouting, but then he realized his friends were back from their fights and turned to greet them.
Rei, otsukaresama.
Honami's pants, though.
Otsukaresama.
Katta. Otsukaresama.
It's like so spicy of them. Like that's so like, you know, it's like, so by the way, we beat up dudes on the weekend, like in our spare time. I'm like, that's hot.
お疲れ様。あともう何戦かしたらご飯でも食べに行きましょうよ。お肉が食べたいわ。
I'm trying to remember. I know Arata is they, but I think they might all go by they. No, but Honami and Junko, I think, go by she, or maybe they use they as well. The game isn't very consistent in that, but I just wanted to. I know Arata for sure is they, but Rei sometimes calls all of them together girls, but I'm pretty sure Arata specifically is they. So. Okay, sorry, I'm just trying to remember. I'm trying to like keep everything in order. So okay. Oh, red meat, yes. All of them had won their fights. Yeah, have you seen them? I was told his group was infamously tough to beat. A large crowd watched us at a
そういえ
distance.
ば例の集団暴行グループの残党がチームを組んでデスマッチエリアに出
Oh,
没してるらしいね。
Kirimizu's gang. At this, Rei, Junko, and Honami all turned to look at Arata frowning.
あれだ、犯人たちって全員捕まったわけじゃなかったの？
I mean, there was a lot of them.
詳しい話はよくわからないけど、黒で統一した服を着た似たような連中がうろついてるって。
息があったバカが真似してるって可能性もあるけど、どっちにしろ会いたくないわね。
Yeah, just to be safe, you know? Like, cause you know, Arata and Rei aren't like guys who would be pushovers in that situation. Guys like Kirimizu's people, they would, you know, it's not like a fight at the deathmatch arena. You know, it's like they just pick up the bat and go at it, baby. Like, you know, and you get knocked out, that's it for you. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, anyway.
でも、ぶちのめして返り討ちにしてやるって手もあるわよ。その方がむしろ清々するんじゃない
But
か
they
しら。
might not play like that, Junko, you know? It might not be the same.
できればあんまり会いたくはないけどね。
Yeah, Arata is probably like not
そうね。
into it.
今会うと怒りに我を忘れてやりすぎちゃいそうだ。
Yeah, Ray might go bug wild.
私。
そうよね。
There was an awkward silence, then Ray clapped his hands together to dispel it.
さあ、次行きましょう、次。もしその残党チームに会っちゃったら、その時はその時を。
Mood.
そうよ。もしあったら、私がケチョンケチョンにしてやるんだから。
Yes, work. Honami raised an arm and flexed their bicep. Giggling, Ray started walking, and his friends followed after him. A beat later, I followed too. If I had to guess, he was probably putting on a tough front around them. His true feelings were closer to what he admitted to me back at his place. He was scared of what he could lose. It was the first time he ever opened up to me. I got the sense that Kirihara's betrayal had really shaken him. He seemed like he was struggling in the aftermath. As I lit my second cigarette, I quietly watched Ray chatting happily with his friends. Poor thing. In the end, we didn't encounter the assault party thugs, and the night ended on a victorious note. Slow damage here. Yes, I love it when I get the timing right. Sometimes you just don't know. You know? Wait, I didn't realize the name of this restaurant was Daddy's. I'm sorry. The next day, I wasn't scheduled to work today, nor was Ray. Instead, the two of us hit up the local diner for lunch. I told him I only wanted coffee, but for some reason he ordered me a bowl of pea soup too. I tried to tell him I didn't want it, but he insisted I had to eat it, so I reluctantly picked up my spoon. Meanwhile, he polished off a chicken sandwich with a salad, then ordered a double chocolate fudge parfait for dessert. Work. That sounds so good. It arrived in a tall glass swirled with hot fudge and whipped cream. Sipping my black coffee, I watched him eat it with relish.
いやー、美味しい。生クリーム最高。
Oh, whipped cream, come on.
明け方に肉を食べたのによく入るな。
After the death matches were over, we'd gone to a steakhouse. I ordered a beer, while the rest of them feasted on juicy red meat.
それとこれとは別なの。暴れた後はお肉が食べたくなるのよ。甘いものはいつでも入るけどね。
I mean, mood. He scooped up a big bite of whipped cream and slid it into his mouth. The sight was enough to give me heartburn, so I averted my eye. Then I set my mug down and pulled out my cigs. Right as I was lighting up, however, Ray's phone started to buzz on the table.
誰かしら。
Oh yeah, who could that be? He set his spoon down and grabbed his phone.
ねえ、とは。
Uh-oh. As he stared down at his phone, his face fell.
また集団暴行事件って、もしかして昨日聞いた残党の仕業かしら。
Maybe.
どうだろうな。
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a psychic. As I exhaled the smoke, he looked up.
暴行事件なんてこの町じゃ日常茶飯事なんだし、いちいち反応しても仕方がないって分かってるんだけどね。
You are traumatized. I mean, that's probably why you're so.
当たり前だから気にしなくなるっていうのはとても怖いことよね。
Oh, interesting.
なんだか慢性的に心が死んでいくようで。
Ray is struggling with his
怖い。
with his conscience, his moral compass, basically. He picked up his spoon and idly swirled the contents of his glass.
この間からずっと怖いって言ってるな。
He's pretty traumatized, I can't lie. His expression shifted awkwardly.
確かにそうかも。よくないわね、こういうの。
I mean, you can't help it.
言うこと自体は別に。
どういうこと？
他の奴らの前では言わないだろ。疲れないのか？
He fell still, his brow furrowed.
みんなを不安にさせたり、心配かけたりしたくないから。みんな集団暴行の被害を受けた私と新のことを気にかけてる。
But you're not over it.
私が率先して立ち直ってるって態度を示すのよ。
But you're not.
お前。
I crushed my cigarette in the ashtray and looked up at him.
周りの人間を信じてないんだな。
Oh.
何言ってるのよ。そんなわけないじゃない。
Flustered, he pushed back.
信じてるわ。みんな大好きな友達よ。
そうは見えないな。
Oh, Toa out here spilling the tea. Sorry, I'm terrible. At this, his face crumpled like he was on the verge of tears. He hung his head to hide it.
ドアの意地悪。
You're so mean. Toa is pretty mean, but it's because he's doing it out of like there's no bad intention in Toa. You know, mine because even with his models, like he's provoking them and interrogating them based upon their own desires. He's not like making things up for them, you know? He's trying to just unlock the truth of the matter. Because you can't handle the truth. Okay. Sorry. I didn't respond, just slurped my cold coffee. Sorry. Oh boy. I see. On our way, Ray looked pretty bummed, so I asked him about his plans for the day. At first he looked at me dubiously, but when he realized I wanted to hang out, he brightened up. Oh, he's like a puppy.
明日は雪が降るんじゃないかし
That's
ら。
what I want to know, you know.
特に予定がないなら帰るけど。
I could just go home. That's towards me though. It's like, or I could just go home.
待って、ある。っていうか、行きましょう。
Let's go, let's
どこ
go.
へ？
Yes, go where?
せっかくだから、新小海の外へ出てみない？
Oh? Shinkomi was by no means cut off from the mainland. We were free to come and go as we pleased. But ordinary citizens were required to travel by water taxi since cars and planes were reserved for foreign tourists and VIPs. That meant we had to travel all the way to the pier if we wanted to leave, so I'd never bothered. It still seemed like a huge waste of time, but Ray was excited about it, so off we went. Aww, that's so sweet. Toa's willing to go and inconvenience himself to have fun with Wei and lighten his mood. That's interesting. Oh gosh. These two are a little silly. You know, they're like the definition of I just felt a little silly. Like oh goodness. Okay. Anyway, let's lead these kids out of Shinkomi, shall we? Oops. Okay. I can't believe it either. Ray gushed as we walked along the pier to the water taxi pickup area.
たまにはな。
とか言って、
So you say.
本当は悪いこと言ったなって思ってるんでしょう。
I wouldn't go that far, but okay. Yeah, I was like, I wouldn't go that far, but sure.
またまた。 でも嬉しいわ。ありがとう。
Arigato. He beamed from ear to ear.
本土に行ったら油彩用の画材で何かいいのがないか探しましょう。あとスイーツもね。新興味にはないものを探したいわ。
Whatever you say, honey. Oh, he's so funny. Anyway, as he eagerly babbled on and on, the pickup area came into view up ahead. Short line had formed, so we queued up behind them.
そういえば、トアと新興味の外に出たことないわよね。
Oh, true, true, true.
私一人で出たことはあるんだけど、タクに声かけても断られちゃうのよね。温度があまり好きじゃないのかしら。
I don't. Taku can't go anywhere.
興味ないんだろ。
Taku can't leave, so.
やっぱりそう思う？
You think so? He can't leave. Just putting it out there. As we chatted idly, we moved up on the line. Oh, up the line until eventually it was our turn. Oh, yeah. Just then, the security guard on watch came over and grabbed Ray by the arm. What?
どういうこと？
Why? Yeah, why?
新興味の外へ出る者は全員チェックしている。
Oh, okay. He jerked his chin upward at the security camera above us.
お前は不採者だ。だから外へ出ることはできない。
Wait, he is?
え？
Ray's eyes widened in horror.
不採者？何それ？
Yeah, wait a second. He's not.
不採者は新興味の外に出ることはできない。知っているだろう。
But he's not.
知ってるわよ。知ってるけど、私は借金なんかしてないわ。
Yeah, Ray's not in debt.
嘘をつけ。お前は不採者だ。
嘘なんかつくわけないでしょ。あのカメラ壊れてるんじゃないの？
Well, hold up.
黙れ。
For a moment, Ray looked utterly baffled, but then the anger set in and he glared sharply at the security. Oh, no, 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 no. Shaking himself out of the man's grip, he turned to me.
とは、高里組の事務所へ行きましょう。私、不採者じゃないもの。
Yeah, let's.
絶対に向こうが間違ってる。
Oh boy. Scoffing, he turned away and started walking. I shot a glance at the stoic security guard, then headed after Ray. Yeah, if you're in debt, then what? Oh no. This ain't looking too hot for our boy. Arriving at the Takasato office, we opened the door and walked in. Normally, the place was deserted, but today was loud and hectic. The goons all ran around like the world was ending. As I wondered what was going on, I flagged someone down. Oh, okay. At first, he glared at me, but then he realized who I was. He dropped the attitude. I had no interest in getting involved in Takasato drama, so I simply explained that we were here to inquire about a debt. He asked us to wait here, then hurried off down the hall. A few minutes later, a lanky aloof man in a plain business suit came walking towards us. Not the plain business suit. He explained to us that he was in charge of debt processing services. When Ray asked him for more information, he was very forthright. According to him, Ray's father had incurred a debt with the Takasato Gumi that he had failed to repay for some time. Oh, I knew it! That bum dad of his. He was supposed to make payments using the money he earned working at a casino. But instead, he kept gambling away more than he earned in a vicious cycle that only increased his total debt. This had continued for some time, but now they had decided Ray's father wasn't able to pay up, so they shifted the burden onto his son instead. If this was the mainland, it would be completely unheard of for the liability to fall to a family member. But in Shinkomi, we were forced to play by the Takasato Gumi's rules. They wanted their money, and they didn't care how they got it. Apparently, Ray's father claimed his son consented to taking on the debt. A debt to the tune of 300 million yen. I look for my father. If my father did that in this situation we're in, and he was Ray's dad, and I was Ray, I'd off him myself. I'm like, excuse, no. Listen, you're already terrible. So I'm taking care of you. You know, as in like you're going into the ocean. Mafia style. When Ray heard the numbers, all the blood drained from his face. Once the accountant had finished his spiel, he hurried back to his office. Oh. After he was gone, Ray bit his lip and stared at the floor, his fist shaking. Yeah, that's a lot. Oh boy. His voice trembled as he forced the words out. Oh, his bum dad. Yeah, exactly. Please don't tell me you have to go look for his dad. His bum dad.
なんで私があんなクソ親父の尻拭いをしなくちゃならないのよ。
I can't deal with deadbeat dads. Well, yes I can. I know how to do. What you do with deadbeat dads is get rid of them. That's what it is. It's terrible.
なんで私が
Oh, poor thing. Especially in BL. In BL, whenever there's a deadbeat dad, just throw the whole man out. Throw the whole man out. Oh gosh, that's terrible. But right before Ray could vent his anger, the door at the end of the hall opened. Sakaki-san! Oh, bless the Lord. It was Sakaki. He strolled over as if he had all the time in the world. I'm sure he does.
今お前たちが来てるって聞いたんでな。
Oh gosh.
ちょうどいいと思ってよ。
Ray's about to have a mental breakdown. He has a lot of anger issues that we need to settle. He turned his unreadable poker face on Ray.
泉の息子、レイ君か。ちょっと親父さんのことで話があるんだ。
Oh no, have
そこの部屋行ってく
mercy.
れねえ
He jerked his chin in the direction of the door that had just opened. Oh no.
わかったわ。
Oh boy. Ray shot me a terrified look, then walked off into the room Sakaki had indicated. Oh, please. Once he was gone, Sakaki turned to me.
でな、俺はお前にも話があるんだよ。
Oh boy.
親父の次の月命日に集会を開こうと思ってるんだ。
Not another deadbeat. Like, there are too many deadbeat fathers in here. No.
まあそういうだろうとは思ってたよ。一応な。 親父の供養と体制の仕切り直しってことで、高里組の直参が全員顔を出す。
But Toa's not in the Takasato Gumi anymore.
親父と血のつながった息子のお前にも来てもらいてんだが。
I don't know about that.
俺には関係ない。赤の他人だ。
That's what I was gonna say.
釣れないね。
Frowning at my blunt refusal, he shook his head and sighed.
無理にとは言わねえが、ちった考えるそぶりぐらいしたらどうだ？え？
I'll think about it. But it's a lie. I fell silent at his scolding tone. Then he let out another sigh.
わかったよ。集会には出なくても構わねえが。
Oh yeah. Don't you worry.
気をつけろ。
Don't you worry. We're gonna stay far away from that guy. We don't want him here. I looked at him dubiously. What did Tono have to do with this?
あいつはもともと俺と仲が悪かったが、俺が親父の後を継ぐってことで、相当悔しがってるらしいんだ。
Yeah.
今度の集会が終わったら独立するんだと。
Okay.
ガキみたいな嫌がらせをするほど性根が腐っちゃいねえとは思いたいが、
Tono sucks, so
目的のためなら手段を選ばないタイプでもあるから。
Yeah. Exactly. We gotta watch out. As the conversation died, the door down the hall opened and Ray walked out. Oh. I could see that his eyes were completely unfocused.
話は終わったか？
But Ray ignored Sakaki and turned his empty eyes to me.
行きましょう。
Oh. Something was clearly wrong with him, but I didn't press him about it. Instead, we set off for the exit.
またな。
Thanks. Sakaki called after us as we walked out. Oh no. This This is awful.
クリニックまで送っていくわ。
Oh. Ray spoke in a flat voice.
何かあったのか？
何も。
Don't pretend. It sure didn't look like nothing, but I didn't argue. In the end, we walked to the clinic in total silence. Slow down. No, I'm just joking. Oh, poor thing. Back at the clinic, Ray followed me up to my apartment. He stared down at the floor for a while. Then finally, he looked at me with a pained expression.
ねえ。
Oh. After I switched the TV on and pulled my coat off, I looked over at him. He stared back at me like he had something to say.
別に俺にまで気を使う必要ないだろ。
He's right. As I spoke, I lit a cigarette. Ray's gaze wandered hesitantly around the room, then returned to me.
借金のことを本当どうしようって思って。タクにも話した方がいいのかしら。どう思う？
I don't know. What do you want to do, Ray?
いいんじゃないか。
そうよね。
Yeah, I don't know what, the situation's very tough. He nodded like he was trying to convince himself, then pulled his phone out of his coat pocket and started tapping.
タクに連絡しておいた。時間ができたらここに来てほしいって。
Ah, poor thing. Mumbling quietly, he sat down on the sofa and stared into space. I took a long drag, leaned against the wall, and shifted my gaze to the TV flickering fruitlessly in the dark. Obituary. Why did Takasato Gumi's past and present holds the key to Shikomi's future? Are we seeing a second wave of assault parties? Why did Takasato Gumi's past and present holds the key to... It says casino, but gambling's on the decline. Interesting. Interesting. After I finished my cigarette, I looked up at the clock on the wall and found that 30 minutes had passed. Ray was still sitting on the sofa in silence. Just then, there was a knock at the door and it opened. Taku! Taku peeked in, looking worried.
どうした？何かあったのか？
Taku. Ray looked over at him with a mix of relief and
仕
hesitation.
事中なのにごめんね。
いや、大丈夫だ。少しならいつもの休憩と変わらん。で、
This workaholic. Taku walked over to the sofa and sat down next to Ray.
あのね。
From there, Ray told Taku about his father's debt. That the guy kept gambling away all the money he earned from his job. That the Takasato Gumi got fed up and dumped the debt on Ray instead. That his father told them Ray had agreed to it. And he only found out because the two of us had tried to take a water taxi out of Shinkomi. The more he talked, the more his expression crumpled in pain. Frowning, Taku rubbed the back of his hand as he listened.
そいつは大変なことになっちまったな。
Yeah, what are we gonna do about this one?
どうすればいいのかしら。
What do we do?
親父さんとはどうなんだ？連絡は？
もう何年もずっと連絡してないわ。絶対に会いたくないもの。
Is it that for real? Is it that for real? Ray's tone was dripping with stubborn fury.
そうか。だが、そうも言ってられんだろう。
Mm-hmm.
会って話さんことには。
This dude hates Ray though. Like,
嫌なの、本当に。それだけは嫌。どうしても。
Yeah, this dude hates. This dude hates his son. Taku didn't seem too sure how to respond to Ray's attitude. He frowned.
で、借金はいくらなんだ？
It's a big number, baby.
3億。
His eyes flew open.
おいおい。
No, no.
信じられない額でしょ。
Ugh. Dude's such a deadbeat. Like, I can't believe this. Ray donned a half-hearted, self-depreciating smile.
あのろくでなしが返済できなかった分が 全部私にスライドするんですって。親子だから連帯責任は当然なんだそうよ。私が返済義務を放棄することもできるけど、その場合はあの男がバラバラにされるらしいわ。
I say you should have let them chop him up into bits, bro.
売れるところは全部売って金にするって。それを避けるためには私が返すしかないのよ。お金を稼ぐ方法もいろいろとアドバイスしてくれたしね。
Oh boy. Scoffing, his smirk grew.
とりあえず今月分は払うわ。少しずつでも返していかないと。
Man, that's so much money.
そんな単純な問題じゃないだろう。高里組のことだ。すぐに悪質なやり方で早く返せと脅しに来るぞ。
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
それに親父さんが借金をやめてなかったらどうする？お前が返済しても親父さんがまた借りたら何の意味もない。
Yeah.
お前が親父さんに会いたくないってことはよく分かった。だがこの問題に関しては直接話し合った方がいい。
Just tell them that they're gonna cut him up into pieces if you say no.
話し合わなきゃなら。
Yeah. Oh gosh, we don't know. Why do we have to talk to this deadbeat dude?
きっと
Ray, come on. I know, but Ray is not good. Taku shook his head
できるだ
firmly.
け早く解決するんだ。
Yeah, because if the debt keeps going up, like, yeah.
そうね。そうするように
Yeah.
私も考えてみる。
Oh Lord, have mercy. Ray rose to his feet and looked at each of us with a guilty smile on his face.
話をしたら少し落ち着いたわ。二人とも余計な時間を取っちゃってごめんね。とはもう今日はせっかく誘ってくれたのに。本当にごめんなさい。
Oh, this is so sad. Screw that deadbeat dad. His gaze was fixed on the phone in his
今夜
hand.
またみんなでデスマッチエリアに行くみたい。連絡が来たの。だから準備しなきゃ。
Oh no, he's gonna kill somebody. Like,
もう帰るね。本当にありがとう。ごめんね。
Ray's gonna kill someone. Like, if we're not careful. Half distracted, he grabbed his coat from the back of the sofa and rushed out of the room. Taku fixed me with a stern look.
とは今夜のデスマッチレイについてい
Yeah,
って
you
くれない
better
か。
go. You better go. Ray's gonna, like, kill a dude.
無茶しそうで心配なんだ。頼む。
Yeah. He's got a lot of repressed emotions going on. Exhaling smoke, I bent forward and crushed my cigarette in the ashtray on the floor. I could tell he was worried about Ray. Hell, even I could tell something was wrong with Ray when he staggered out of the room just now. That wasn't why I wanted to go watch Ray compete. I couldn't help but think about the time Ray's smoke lashed out at me. There was something about it that viscerally resembled the way Ray looked when he fought. Like the calm before the storm, he seemed like he was barely keeping a lid on some kind of emotional outburst. Maybe he was hiding something, and if so, maybe I could figure it out if I watched him fight. After that, Taku went back to work, so I grabbed my coat and left the room with him. Slow damage. I've got the timing now. Oh gosh, Ray. Oh man, screw that deadbeat dad though, that's for sure. Later that night, when I sent Ray a message letting him know I was coming, he replied almost instantly. I wasn't sure he agreed to it, given how he was acting earlier, but he said he would wait for me at the usual meetup spot on the outskirts of the district. I wonder if he's going in alone. Oh no, he's with the homies. When I arrived, he and his friends were already there waiting for me. As soon as we entered the deathmatch area, we were challenged by an opposing group. Ray was the first to step forward. He hadn't spoken much since we met up, and he was acting noticeably different. His usual optimism had vanished, replaced by icy hostility. I joined the circle of onlookers surrounding the duel. Then I realized something. The entire opposing team was dressed in black. Were these the assault party guys? A moment after the thought crossed my mind, the battle began. Sure enough, Rei was different tonight, just as I had sensed on the way here. His lips pursed tightly together, he threw out heavy punch after heavy punch without letting his opponent get a single hit in edgewise. Partway through, however, he switched to a defensive strategy, purely dodging with no counterattacks. Almost like he wanted to avoid the other guy touching him at all costs. On closer inspection, I noticed his opponent's fist glinting unnaturally. I squinted to get a better look. It was a knife. Rei's opponent had concealed a knife up his sleeve and was trying to attack with it, but he was hiding it so well you'd have to be paying attention to notice. If the weapon was discovered, the entire crowd would disparage him, which was probably why he kept it hidden. Over and over, Rei dodged the guy's punches, then slipped in a punch to his gut. When he doubled over, Rei followed up with a hard kick to the shoulder. The man fell on his back, Rei straddled him and started wailing on him. With every hit, the guy let out a grunt of pain. His face was swollen and he was rapidly losing the will to fight, but Rei didn't stop. As I watched him, I felt that familiar ache in my gut. In this moment, he was a mindless puppet who lived only for violence, and I wanted nothing more than to capture it on the canvas. As he continued to pummel an opponent that couldn't fight back, the crowd's attention gradually shifted to him. Despite the name, death matches generally stopped short of killing the losing fighter, though it was known to happen on occasion. There was a common understanding between the combatants that they weren't out for blood, just testing their strength. The cheers faded and the crowd started to tense up. Arata was in the audience with me for this round. They walked out into the ring and grabbed Rei by the shoulder. But Rei didn't stop. Meanwhile, the other guy was completely limp like he was passed out. Screaming his name in protest, Arata yanked him by the shoulder. Rei snapped to his senses and fell still. Then slowly, he turned in Arata's direction. The look on his face was like that of a child who didn't understand what he had done wrong.
Rei.
With a hollow whimper, Rei looked down at the opponent he was straddling. The man's face was now swollen beyond recognition, bleeding and twitching. A knife lay beside him, probably the one he had smuggled in. Oh yeah, baby. Arata crouched down and held their hand just over the man's mouth. Arata frowned at the gruesome carnage Rei had inflicted. Before long, Junko and Honami finished their fights and came running over. They both took one look at the grisly mess and stopped short in shock. Stunned, Rei stared blankly into space as he scrambled away from his victim. Dark blood dripped from his knuckles.
Oi!
A sharp voice rang out. I looked over to find the group of men in black all gathered together. A man wearing a black hoodie stormed over and shouted in Rei's face. Well, I don't know. I mean, you don't seem to care. Upon further inspection, I noticed his clothes were scuffed up. Honami or Junko must have trounced him in their fight. And now he was taking his anger out on Rei. Oh, The man leaned closer to Rei. Rei stiffened. Upon second glance, I realized this guy was holding a knife too. The tip was touching Rei's abdomen. Sure, his clothes were in the way, but the knife could probably cut through them. This was enough to snap Rei back to his senses. He glared back at the man with the knife. After a moment of prolonged eye contact, the man backed away. With that, the men in black turned and forced their way through the circle of onlookers. Onlookers? Arata watched them go with concern.
もう最低最悪よ。周りからは見えないように服の袖に隠してね。かなりタチが悪いわね。っていうかあいつら、もしかして。
Yeah, they probably. Wanami fell silent and shot a sidelong glance at Ray.
あの集団暴行グループの残党でしょ。
It's possible.
やっぱりそうよね。デスマッチエリアから追い出してやりたいんだけど、危険分子よ、危険分子。
That's true, that's true.
確かに私と対戦したやつもナイフを使ってきたわ。でも
However, Ray stared at the ground and slowly balled his bloodied hands into his fists. Oh, into fists.
私がやりすぎたのは事実よ。
It's true. It's yeah. He almost he almost killed somebody.
それは正当防衛じゃない。仕方がないな。
I don't think it was self-defense. I mean, at one point, yeah. At another point, no. It's terrible. Okay.
どんな理由であれ、あいつらはきっと復讐に来るはずよ。
あんな奴らだもの。レイがやりすぎなくたって逆恨みして復讐に来るわよ。そうよそうよ。
でもしばらくはデスマッチエリアの外でも気をつけた方がいいかもしれないね。ああいう連中は何をするかわからないし。
That's the truth. Absolutely.
そうね。
Grimacing, Ray stared down at the bloodstains on the asphalt. After that, the mood was so miserable that everyone decided to call it a night early. Motorcycle. Ray said he would take me home, so he headed off to the place where his motorcycle was parked. He was silent the entire time we were walking, but once we made it to his motorcycle, he suddenly spoke.
ねえ、とは。
Yes. I looked at him wordlessly.
お肉が食べたいんだけど、付き合ってよ。とわは食べなくてもいいから。
No. Mumbling weakly, he swung a leg over his bike. Evidently, I didn't get a say in the matter, but then again, I saw no reason to say no. Silently, I hopped on behind him. I just feel like so depressed, like in comparison to Taku's. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. I'm just like, this is really sad, because like at least in Taku's chapter, it's on him. You know, for the most part, he decided to like act up, was feeling silly, and decided to take like a debt from the Yakuza, you know? So, and that's on him being like, okay, I'm gonna make you a thing and I'm gonna take like this money from this dude, you know, who's pretty sus, but you know, that kind of vibe. But you know, in Ray's case, it's like, it's not even his fault, like, you know. And then like with Kitty Mizu, like, you know, it's like, man, it's time for Ray. At the steakhouse, I sat and watched as Ray devoured his food without a word. He is having a mental breakdown. Then he drove me back to the clinic, but when I hopped off, he followed me. Apparently he wanted to come back to my place. Let him. He should be with other people right now. Or at least you. Ray had proclaimed that meat always cheered him up, but even after he polished off a huge ribeye, he still looked gloomy. I walked into my apartment where I switched on the TV, then took off my coat and threw it over the back of the sofa. He stood next to the sofa and stared blankly at the TV flickering in the dark. As I was pulling a half-empty bottle of booze out of the fridge, I heard him sigh.
いつもはお肉を食べるとすっきりするのに。なんだか今日は全然ダメね。ずっとモヤモヤしてるわ。
Poor thing.
600グラム食べたのに。
Yeah, that's a big steak.
食べたのによ。
He let out another heavy sigh. I took a swig from the bottle, then offered it to him. He cringed at my less than classy behavior, but took the bottle and started to drink. I could hear the fluid sloshing around as he swallowed again and again.
おいしい。この飲み方はどうかと思うけど。ありがとう。
You cannot complain to me right now, Ray. He handed the bottle back to me. I took it and had another sip.
ねえ、急にこんなこと言うのもおかしいんだけど。
Okay. He looked back at the TV as he spoke. I wondered if he was avoiding my gaze on purpose.
血のつながりって何なのかしらね。大事なものだってことはもちろん分かってるわ。
He's got a lot.
でも、
a lot of thoughts going on.
私、父親とはもうずっと会ってないし、連絡も取ってないのよ。
Well, that's one thing you have in common with Toa. Toa's father is just a stranger, so.
なのに、血がつながってるから尻拭いをしろって言われても、本当に意味がわかんないのよ。
Yeah, unfortunately in Ray's situation.
親は子を選べないし、子も親を選べない。向こうも私みたいなのが自分の子供で嫌なんでしょうけど、私だって同じよ。
Now he's loving it now because he can just dump it on you.
血のつながりなんて解消したいくらいだわ。でも、親子である限り、それはできない。
I mean, you could just let the gangsters cut him up. I mean,
そのせいで、
there's that too.
都合がいい時にだけ親子関係を引っ張り出して、私に全部押し付けて。こんなの。
I say, you let the Yakuza throw him into the sea. That's what I say. That's how you get rid of a deadbeat.
私はあいつの子供である前に、一人の人間なのよ。私の意志は尊重されないの。
It'd be like that sometimes. Welcome to being Asian, right? This is terrible.
今すぐにでも断ち切りたい血のつながりのせいで。
Yeah, I've been there. No, I take it back. I haven't actually been there, but I feel that. I feel that.
本当に。
I mean, I'm like, I've been there only because, like.
わけわかんない。
No. It's not that I've been there. It's that, like, I can understand, you know. He balled his hands into his fists.
ああ、もやもやする。ほんとやだ。
抜いてやろうか。
That escalated quickly. That escalated very quickly. Here we go. He looked at me, his mouth agog.
え？何？
I mean, it's exactly what it says. Yeah, you need, like, you look like you need some. But though I repeated myself, this didn't seem to help him understand.
冗談でしょ?
No. You are so miserable, homie. I say you take it. I say do it. Dead serious, I shook my head. His cheeks slowly flushed pink.
何言ってんのよ。やめてよ、はしたない。そういうんじゃないんだから。
I mean, it could be. I'm so sorry. Ray's just like, what? And I'm just like, listen, you are so sad right now. And that's probably why Toa's just like, listen, I'm willing to spot you one, you know, like, cause you are just too sad. It seemed to really fluster him. Evidently, he was a lot more pure and innocent than I thought. Frankly, I knew very little of his love life. He seemed to have a lot of friends, so I figured he'd be open to casual hookups, but apparently not. Anyway, no, I wasn't joking. If steak wasn't enough to cheer him up, then that was the only other thing I could think of.
ああ、変なこと言われたおかげで気持ちが落ち着いてきたわ。
He wasn't joking, Ray. Fanning his red face, Ray sped to the door, then he paused and looked over his shoulder at me.
おやすみ。
You were thinking about it. You were thinking about it, Ray. With that curt farewell, he left the room. If he'd said yes, I would have done it, but evidently it wasn't that cut and dried with him. Amused by his blatant change of attitude, I took another swig of lukewarm booze from the bottle. He cracks me up. That is funny. Makes a lot of sense, though. After Ray went home that night, I sat on the sofa and drank until I passed out. Yeah, what's new? What's new, Toa? For once, I had a dream that wasn't a nightmare. A dream about Ray. Oh? Hey, yo? What kind of dream? We were in what looked like the deathmatch area. It was pouring down rain and Ray was fighting someone. As he swung his fist, bathing in blood that possibly wasn't his own, he smiled like he was having the time of his life. But at the same time, he looked like he was crying too. Or maybe it was just the rain. My eye captured every slight shift in his expression. Interesting. Interesting. When I snapped awake the next day, for once, I could actually remember what I dreamed about. For a while, I lay there on the sofa, staring up at the ceiling and thinking about the dream. Then I eased myself into a sitting position and grabbed my sketch pad and pencil off the coffee table. I flipped to a blank page, then started sketching mindlessly. These lines came together to form a drawing of Ray in a death match. Whether it was the same match from my dream, or one I'd witnessed in real life, it was hard to say. I used rough lines to capture the raw energy I'd felt against my skin, with particular attention given to Ray's sharp, predatory eyes. During death matches, he transformed into a vicious beast. So which was the real him? The innocent one, or the violent one? All I knew for sure was that whenever he swung his fist, he smiled like he was having fun. The more blows that were exchanged between him and his opponent, the more excited he became. Ray was currently struggling under the weight of an unbearable burden, and now those negative emotions were starting to have adverse effects in other facets of his life, like today's deathmatch. The more stressed he became, the more his outer shell would peel away, exposing his true nature. And the Ray that beat his sparring opponent with an inch of his life was still a valid part of Ray himself. That side of him was burned into my retina, or maybe my mind. On the paper, I traced over his cheek again and again, like I was trying to make him real. Then I added a heavy, dark weight to his eyes. Slow damage. Work! Work! The next day, Ray told me he wanted to talk, so the two of us ate lunch at my place. Oh, that looks so good. I'm so hungry. It is so late. Why am I thinking of food? I literally have a packet of barbecue sauce from McDonald's here for some reason, and it's making me think of nuggets. Instead of his usual homemade cooking, he brought bento boxes he picked up from somewhere. Oh gosh, it looks so good. Apparently he woke up late and didn't have time to cook this morning.
ここの酢豚弁当すっごく美味しいって評判でね。一度食べてみたいと思ってたからいいんだけど。
Oh, that does sound good. He grabbed a piece of pork between his chopsticks and popped it into his mouth. His face lit up.
美味しい。とはも美味しいでしょ?
Don't you? Yes. Yes, sure. Though I was holding my chopsticks, I wasn't really eating. This was pretty common for me since I never had much of an appetite.
もう全然食べてないじゃない。いいわ。残したら私がもらうから。
Whatever you say, Ray. Ray was already halfway through his own bento when he started nagging me. He may have seemed like he was back to his usual self, but I was sure it was an act. I set my chopsticks down, pushed my bento box in his direction, then grabbed my smokes. I expected him to scold me for smoking during a meal, but he just sat there glaring down at the half-eaten food.
お願いがあるんだけど。
Is it a continuation of the proposition that Toa had given you last night? wanna know. He looked up at me and leaned forward slightly.
今夜ね、すっごく人気のスイーツビュッフェの予約を取ってるんだけど、一緒に行こうって言ってた子が休養でダメになっちゃったの。
A dessert buffet. Toad doesn't like desserts, but
他のスイーツ好きな子に行けるか聞いてみたんだけど、急すぎるから無理だって言われちゃって。
Do you want to come even though you hate sweets? Is that what you're trying to ask?
ビュッフェに付き合ってくれない？
He's just like, I just don't want to be alone.
タクは甘いもの苦手だし、頼める人がトアしかいないのよ。お願い。
Let's go to the dessert buffet. He closed his eyes, clasped his hands together, and beseeched me like I was God himself. I pulled the unlit cigarette from between my lips and sighed in annoyance. Why did Ray always try to feed me sweets? He acted like I was the only person left on Earth, but surely he had more friends he could ask. Besides, I didn't like sugary stuff any more than Taco did.
そんな貴重な場所に同行するのが俺でいいのか?
That's true. At this, he smiled awkwardly.
もう最後にするの。
Oh, that's right.
大好きなものをたくさん食べまくっておしまい。これからはそんな余裕もなくなるんだし。
His tone was casual in an attempt to keep the mood light, but to me it only emphasized how hard he was struggling. Instantly, his face lit up like the 4th of July.
ありがとうとは。無理言ってごめんね。
分かってるだろうけど、そんなに食べないからな。
I don't think he cares.
もちろんよ。トアの分も私が
Yeah,
食
he
べる
does
から
not
大丈
care.
夫。
I think he's fine. Giddy, he finished the rest of his lunch and moved on to mine, which was nearly untouched. I lit my cigarette and watched him eat.
そんなに食べて太らないのか?
I think he's gonna be okay.
仕事とデスマッチで発散できてるみたい。
Yeah, he has like 3 jobs. I think he's fine. He put a hand over his mouth and answered through a mouthful of food.
でも最近は心のカロリー過多になっちゃってるからね。そっちは精神的な満足度を上げないと発散できないのよ。
心のカロリー。
He fell still, swallowed the food in his mouth, and looked away.
借金のこととかね。
Yeah. He answered quietly and gazed down at his chopsticks in contemplation for a few seconds. Then he exhaled all the negative energy and went back to eating.
それより夜がとっても楽しみだわ。
As he spoke, he smiled from ear to ear. Man. We're just gonna be sitting in sadness for a while, I'm assuming. After lunch, Ray cleared away the bento boxes and left. There was still plenty of time before we were scheduled to go to the buffet, so I figured I'd head out into town. Exploration time? I crushed my cigarette in the ashtray and pulled on my coat. Yay! Exploration time! My favorito! Okay. Let's save. Just in case. Save! Save! Alright, big. Okay. Do. Well, let's move a little. Okay, what we got? Let's see. So we've got no business. No business. Don't feel like it. Okay, so we have the station, the clinic, Haguita, Cole, and the roost. Oh, okay. I guess we could just go there anyway. Let's go anyway. Why not? Abandoned buildings stand in tight rows like sardines. This is the entrance to District A. This area used to be a successful entertainment district, but now it's a mere shadow of its former self. A sturdy barricade has been placed around the center forbidding entry, reason being, supposedly, that the buildings are decaying due to age and water damage and could crumble at any moment's notice. Tourists don't come here, nor do the locals. As I walked down the dilapidated street littered with debris, I spotted a familiar tall figure. Oh!
Toa!
Hi! Huh? What the heck? It's Tella! Hey! Okay, Mayu. I thought there was, it says I don't feel like it. I'm like, okay.
Nani?
It's free exploration time, Mayu. The place is only deserted during the day, so I wanted to make the most of the quiet hours. Haha! That's true. I'm on patrol right now with Kotaro, but he's somewhere else. I thought your patrols only happened at night. We do it at night too, but during the day there's less people around, so we make sure there's no funny business going on. That how it works? Sometimes they tell us to patrol the same place both day and night. It's such a hassle. Why put that much effort in? Don't you agree, Towa? Doesn't? Yeah, he doesn't really. It's so hard with like these two, like Kotaro and Mayu, because like they're just like they don't need answers from me. He doesn't look like he's seeking validation. Let's respond rationally? Well, it's your job. I mean, yes, it is. I swear it only ever happens on a day when my favorite anime is airing. It ruins my good mood every time. Okay, that wasn't the move apparently. Oh, there we go. Sometimes I just want to say, no can do, sir. Work. Okay. I thought I didn't get it, so. But if I say that to Sakaki-san, he will yell at me again.
Mata ne.
Anyway, back to work. See you later, Toa. See you. Okay.
Tsumanai ne.
Patrolling is so boring. Nothing to do. Maybe a ghost will pop out for real. This place is pretty dead. That's funny.
Nani?
Yeah.
Nah, we're good. Yeah, didn't think so.
Tsumanai.
Okay. Alright, so... This one's... it's... Kotaro is probably here, huh? Let's give it a go. I'd search everything, because why not? Might as well, right? I need all the info I can get, you know? This whole area is known as the Deathmatch area. Over a decade ago, it was the site of a war between different Takasato factions. Today, however, the buildings have been left to rot. After the Takasato fight, ordinary citizens were forbidden entry. At least, on paper. But then a bunch of rebel punks started meeting up there, and before long it became the designated location for the tests of strength known as death matches. Those who swing their fists here can vent their pent-up rage and frustration. While the Takasato Gumi technically outlawed anyone from coming here, they quietly recognize the citizens' need for stress relief. However, they strictly forbid anyone from moving in or starting a business in the area, and they routinely send their grunts on patrol. Rumor has it that the strongest deathmatch fighters get recruited to join the gang. Some people come here purely because of this.
Toa.
Yep, there he is. Huh? Oh, it's just you, Toa. Hey. Hey! Let's talk. Okay. What's up? Not often you come out here. Just felt like it. You just felt like it? What about you? On patrol? Yeah, with Mayu. He's assigned to a different section right now.
Nah.
Toa, I've been wanting to ask. You're not into cross-dressing, are you? Oh no. Oh no. I don't think he's into it though, based on I don't know.
Positive.
Do you want me to be?
Oh no.
Huh? I mean, if you want to do it, then I want to see it. Mercy. The other day, they had me clearing out this nightclub that got shut down. And while I was sorting through it, I found a lot of old photos, and there was something. Ooh! What was the something? On second thought, never mind. Oh? It's nothing. My eyes were playing tricks on me. Oh? What, so you saw someone who looked like me?
Oh.
For a second, yeah. I thought it was you. But it's all in the trash now. It doesn't really matter. Don't worry about it. Okay. He don't want to.
どうした?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Alright, let's see. What's next? So we don't have any. We got this. We don't need that. No business there either. Okay, let's just go backwards then. To the station! You know, all this started just because Ray wanted to go, you know. He just wanted to go on a trip with Toa. So sad. Who we got? The cold sea breeze tickles my cheek. This is the pier that runs along the seashore in District D. But this pier only serves water taxis and cruise ships. The freighters are sent to Warehouse Pier in District C. Water taxis and buses serve as the primary form of public transportation here in Shinkomi. There are stations set up all over the coast. Because this pier is located between District D's recreational facilities and District B's resort area, it sees a lot of mainland tourists. I still remember the day Ray got denied passage due to his dead robotic. Oh no. It's Toa. Who is this? Oh, it's the besties. Okay. Oh my god, if it isn't Toa.
Konnichiwa.
Hi there, Toa. Hey. Hey.
Nani?
Are you heading out somewhere? Not really.
そうなんだ。
Oh, I see. We were just talking about going to that cream puff bakery in the station square. I mean, no wonder the place has been around for decades. Their cream puffs are addictive.
そういえば。
I heard they briefly had a pop-up store back on the mainland. Speaking of the mainland, I just found out about this from a friend of mine. You know how Station Square means the place with the water taxi station? Yeah? Well, on the mainland, Station Square means the train station. Blew my mind.
そうね。
Right, because the railway network is the main mode of transportation over there. I guess it's just a cultural difference. Hey Toa, did you know that? I bet you didn't. Okay, let's talk about it. It's obvious what they want to. Yeah. Ooh, the smoke. No, I didn't know. Right? The smoke. I get it. Work. Okay. Shinkomi is nothing like the mainland. Hard to believe we're even part of the same country.
そうね。
I know, right? I'm not sure any of us could survive if we lived there. Girls, a line's forming outside the ice cream puff store. Oh my god, we better go before they sell out! Okay.
冗談でしょ?
Yeah, they gotta get the cream puffs.
どうしたの?
Not really.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, let's get a move on! Okay. No business. No business. No business. Oh, here we go. I think we got 3 more places, yeah? Yeah. Come on, baby.
Yo.
Oh, it's you. Ugh. Yeah. Okay. Yes, we should talk to you. How have you been lately? Having fun? You could say that. You're having the time of your life, aren't you? I've heard all the rumors. What if you got a job and earned some money? There are places that specialize in male escorts. You could be #1 in no time flat. Can you not? Especially a trisexual like you. What? You know, every time this dude comes up and I'm just like, hey, I just want to like, you know, be cool about it. He really makes me want to throw him into the ocean. Maybe so, but I don't like to be tied down. I see. Hypothetically speaking, if you received a large sum of cash, what would you do with it? I can tell he's not expecting an answer. Vaguely. However.
Positive. どうだかな?
Yeah, exactly. Alcohol. Cigarettes. Okay.
もう行く.
Okay. Leave.
冗談だろ.
Oh,
まったく.
Oh? Okay, I'm leaving now because you didn't even give me anything, so I don't need to talk to you anymore. Okay, let's see. I just didn't know what to tell him, and also I hate him, so it doesn't matter. I don't need his stupid word. As I was walking down the street, a hand shot out from the alley and grabbed my coat. Oh, it's you! Oh, it's you. Yeah. We thought the assault parties were over, but we were wrong. A similar group has popped up. Is it a resurgence of the same group? Wouldn't be surprised if it's just some copycat criminals. This is far from over, isn't it? Did you know? There's a famous deathmatch team. I hear the members all work at a bar called REI'S. They all kick booty. The most famous among them is someone called Ray, but I hear he looks completely different outside the deathmatch area. There's a rumor going around about a ghost haunting the deathmatch area. They say it's a vengeful spirit with a grudge against the Takasato Gumi, a former member who's supposed to be dead. A little early for spooky stories, isn't it? So many people have fallen victim to debt. They borrow from Peter to pay Paul over and over again. A vicious cycle. If it reaches a certain threshold, they get web tagged and monitored. And if they still can't make their payments, then they end up... The best option is to not borrow money at all. Does it not ever give me anything? I don't think he not ever gives me anything. Yeah, he never gives me anything, but, you know, maybe later. Maybe the deeper we get into this game. Oh, mercy. Okay. Alright, kids. One more. Let's get some words.
Yo.
Oh, Toa, headed out? Yeah. Give me some words, Taku. Hold up a sec. Real quick, can I ask you something? What is it? See, I've got a patient in the secondary medical ward with a deep stab wound on the arm. When I tried to sew it up, they stopped me. They said they did it on purpose because they wanted it to leave a scar. Now, I don't really get the thought process there, but I figured you might. Basically, some people like cuts, right? It's not life-threatening, and I do want to respect my patient's wishes if I can. What do you think? Let's respond rationally?
Yeah.
You can't just let them waltz out of here. I probably shouldn't, right? Oh, darn. Well, sorry for flagging you down. I appreciate your help. Okay. Well, I thought that's what he wanted. Okay. I will. Okay, well, that's fine. I got a good amount, so... No. This is... We are not Equina. Okay, let's see. I think this is it. Yeah? Okay. Okay. So, let me save really quick. Because it's been a while. Yes, indeedy roo. Okay. So let's do this next little bit, and then I think we're good for today. Let's go to the apartment. We got some good ones, kids. We got some good ones. So, alright, let's do just a little bit more, and then we'll take our break. When I returned to my apartment, the TV was still on. I sat down on the sofa without bothering to take my coat off. I looked up at the clock to check the time, then fixed my gaze on the TV screen and zoned out. Then I reached down, grabbed the floor bottle, and took a lukewarm swig. Oof. That evening, Ray and I left the clinic on his motorcycle. Our destination, the dessert buffet, was located in District B, held in the lounge of a luxury hotel. After a 15-minute drive, we parked in the parking lot and took the elevator up to the ground floor. The mezzanine lobby was pleasantly vast and empty. As the quiet trickle of the fountain echoed in the background, we walked across the polished marble floors. Ray clasped both his hands together at the chest height and gazed around, deeply impressed. That tree is bussin'. It looks kind of like the tree from the fountain, just a little bit. Not like completely, because that tree is giant. So, at a glance, most of the clientele looked bougie, but there were a handful of lower-class punks who would have fit right in on Koho Street. They were probably here for the casino. Let's go! Rei took a look at the directory, then started walking. Oh, this is bougie. Oh, don't do the slots, honey. It's not worth it. He murmured quietly as we passed the casino floor. Yeah, it's true. Well, I mean, you could, you know, I've once turned my $20 winnings into 100. I shrugged. He shook his head firmly. It is. Don't gamble. I'm a gacha addict. Don't. No, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. He sounded like he was speaking from experience. Then he spotted the buffet area and his expression brightened. I glanced over at the lounge where a line of women waited to get in and instantly felt out of place. But nevertheless, I followed after him. Oh, looks so good. Unsurprisingly, the buffet customers were 90% female. On occasion, I spotted a guy who probably came here on a date, but there weren't that many. Oddly enough, though Rei looked just as male as me, he seemed to fit right in. So cute. He squealed excitedly and ran off into the crowd of women to get his desserts. Alone, I sank into the uncomfortable love seat and awaited his return. I didn't belong here in this pristine, all-white lounge. But the other patrons were all too busy eating and chatting to pay me any mind. That much I could appreciate. I started to pull out my smokes, then caught sign of the no smoking sign. With a sigh, I stopped myself. The only thing I could do was sit there and wait. After a while, Rei returned carrying a plate in each hand, both piled high with desserts. It's a buffet. You eat what you want, baby. You eat what you want. Beaming from ear to ear, he set the plates down on the table and sat on the love seat across from me. Oh, that looks so good. The sight of brightly colored treats instantly gave me heartburn. Oh yeah, he can have alcohol. He can have alcohol. He picked up his fork and started in on a slice of cake laden with icing. It's a reservation-only buffet. This means this food is delicious. Squealing in delight, he pushed the other plate in my direction. I stared down coldly at the mountain of cake, but he didn't seem to notice. He was eating with such relish, he was getting frosting all over his face and hands. Oh! I found it hard to believe that the cake could possibly be that good. Pushing myself off the love seat, I picked up a fork. Then I took a bite of the brown cake right in front. He's like, I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't taste any flavor other than the overpowering sugar content. I tried a few others, but they all tasted the exact same to me. It made Yanagawa Cafe's honey toast taste good by comparison. Rei wolfed down one dessert after another, then moved on to the second plate. Okay, sure. He leaned across the table, offering me the plate. I reached out to take it, but accidentally stuck my fingers in some frosting. You're not gonna do what I think you're gonna do. Grinning, he set the plate down, then took my hand and drew it to his... Oh no. Oh, he's doing the... Before I could figure out what to expect, he licked the frosting right off my fingers. It was so ballsy, it startled me. It'd be one thing if this was Roost, but we were at a fancy buffet venue for women. Was he getting a sugar high? I knew before I agreed to this that whenever Rei consumed a lot of sugar, he would get a little weird. With his damp eyes and flushed cheeks, you'd be forgiven for thinking he was... So, oh, he has like a... Okay. I see. He licked my fingers clean and smiled dreamily. He was the only person I knew who could get drunk on sugar. Silently, I retracted my hand and wiped it on the warm, wet towel provided to our table. Oh, it looks so good. As Rei went back to his cake feast, he suddenly spoke up. Oh, is that where we're going right now? At this sudden question, I shot him a dubious look. But he ignored me and kept eating his
今
cake.
のお前の姿じゃないことは確かだな。
Whatever it is. It's the opposite of what you're doing right now. That's funny. As I rolled my eye, he stopped eating and glared
じゃ
at
あ
me.
どういう姿が男らしいのよ。喧嘩？スポーツ？何？
さあな、俺に聞かれても。
I was like, I don't care.
私、あんたの傷跡はかっこいいと思うわ。男らしいと思う。
But are they? At this, I shrugged.
普通はそう思わない。
It's true. True.
そうかしら。でも、初めて会った時のトワって男らしかったわよ。
Hey, yo.
冗談だろ。
うんうん。
When did they first meet? He shook his head with a firm look in his eyes.
昔のトワは今よりもっと尖ってた。
I see.
私ね、男らしさっていうのは
Uh-huh. His gaze drifted as he molded over.
信念を曲げないことだと思うの。こうと決めたら貫き通すみたいな。そういう意味ならトワも男らしいうちに入るでしょ。
Yeah. I'll agree with
俺
that.
に信念なんてあると思うか。
When you are gathering a model for your painting.
あるわよ。ある。私はそう思ってる。
Yeah, Toa doesn't think so, but he definitely does.
お前は？
私は
His expression clouded over
私
faintly.
は全然男らしくなんてないわ。喋り方とかそういうことじゃなくて、信念って意味でも違うと思う。
Dispirited, he went back to his desserts. We didn't talk much after that. In the end, Ray polished off 4 full plates of cake all by himself. It did look really good. It looked so
美
good.
味しかった。美味しかっ
Oh,
た。
why did it repeat? That's
お
okay.
腹いっぱい。もう食べられないわ。
He leaned back against the love seat, his eyes in focus like he was completely blitzed.
いっつもそうなんだけど、甘いものをたくさん食べた後って
I see.
なんだかエッチしたくなるのよね。
Is it happening? This sudden, overly honest confession got my attention quickly. This was yet another aspect of his sugar
なら
intoxication.
ない？
そもそも甘いもんを食べない。
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, he doesn't eat.
そっか。私だけかな。
Man, it's making me so hungry. I really want like Korean barbecue right now. I'm really craving Korean barbecue. I usually like don't really crave it. Like it's usually like someone mentions it and then we eat it. But I was like, I haven't craved it in a long time, and Ray is making me crave Korean barbecue right now, and I don't understand why. So
デスマッチの後もお肉をすっごく食べたくなるんだけど、なんだか私興奮と食欲がつながってるみた
I
い。
mean, the stomach is a very empathetic organ. You know, whenever we're upset, the stomach is like, I'm upset too, you know? He trailed his fork over his empty plate as he spoke.
そういうのってない？
What are you talking about?
欲求不満なんじゃないのか。
Yeah, exactly. It does sound, I was gonna say, I was like, I think... I hate saying it, but Toe was right. He slowly tilted his head.
どうかしら。
I think so.
処理は一人でやってるのか。
Sorry. My blunt question seemed to snap him out of his reverie. He jumped and glared at
ご
me.
心配いただかなくても間に合ってます。
So what you're saying is, did he have a special someone then? A buddy? Admittedly, my curiosity was piqued by this stomach to adrenal gland connection. I could kind of understand it since my libido was directly linked to violence.
さあ、そろそろ帰りましょうか。
He rose to his feet and headed off to pay the bill. Likewise, I got up from the sofa and headed to the exit to wait for him outside.
ねえ、これカジノの無料券もらったんだけど。
Put it in the slot machine. When Ray rocked out, he handed something in my direction. It looked almost like a credit card. Apparently, you could withdraw a set amount of casino chips from it for
せ
free.
っかくだし行ってみない？こんな券でもなければカジノなんて縁が
Win
ない
big,
し。
baby. Let's win
ギ
big.
ャンブルは人をダメにするんじゃなかったのか。
It's okay. When you get free
もちろん、ただだから
vouchers from the
やるのよ。
casino, just use it.
無料で遊べる範囲しかやらないわ。
Yeah, but be careful. It's like, because you will be like, sometimes you just want to have fun. Like, I will say, sometimes you just want to, like, with the slot machines especially, it's like, I do like to play the slot machine, and it's fun, but like, be careful because you can get really addicted to watching the number go up, and then before you know it, you lose all the money. So he set off toward the casino area. A security guard was stationed at the entrance, carefully screening everyone who went in. Let's win some money, baby! Enduring his penetrating gaze, we stepped inside. The casino floor was deafening, filled with jazz music and the sound of shrill electronic beeps. From the brightly flashing slot machines to the dealers' tables, there were games of all kinds. Everywhere you looked, there were customers betting their life savings away. It wasn't my first time ever setting foot in a casino, but it had certainly been a while. I had no interest in gambling, I didn't care for glitz and glamour, so I never felt the need to visit one of my own volition. Sorry. Why are you yelling at me? Refusing to be outdone, Ray shouted over the din at me. Yeah, just do the slots. The slots are easy. Don't worry about it. He walked off to the exchange counter while I waited for him a short distance away. The casino floor didn't seem to prohibit smoking, so I promptly lit a cigarette. After I took a nice long drag, Ray returned with his casino chips. He said, "Here's some money." He handed me the card with his leftover chip balance. Okay. Then he walked to a nearby slot machine, sat down on the stool, and started playing. I stood there for a while, holding the card and watching him play slots. I still had no interest in gambling, but I figured I'd play slots at the machine next to Ray. So I sat down and got started, but a few games later, I'd used up all my chips. Oh. Loud music began to emanate from Ray's machine as an animation of falling chips appeared on screen. No luck, no. And yet he couldn't suppress a gleeful grin. After the chip animation finished, Ray took his card back and rose from the stool. Oh yeah. It's the serotonin. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, but when you lose, awful. It's terrible. He looked down at the card in his hand and frowned faintly. Oh yeah, because like it's just that's all they have. Like, you know, some people are just like addicted. He smiled sadly, his brow furrowed. Oh, bless his little heart. He started to walk to the exchange counter, then stopped short. I was right behind him, so I nearly crashed into him. Hastily, I pulled the cigarette from my lips. Oh no. Is his dad here? He didn't respond, so I walked up next to him and peeped at his face. It was as if time itself had come to a halt. He was frozen in place, his eyes fixed on a single point, his complexion ghostly pale, like he was on the verge of a breakdown. Something had to be wrong, so I followed his gaze. Oh, yikes. There I saw a middle-aged man sitting slouched at a slot machine. He was thin and poorly dressed, with messy hair. He didn't seem to match the vibe of the casino, which meant he was actually probably a regular customer. Cursing, he slammed the slot machine with his hands. Ray let out a shaky breath, turned on his heel, and bolted. He dashed out of the casino. Left behind, I looked back at the middle-aged man. He was still focused on the slot machine. Ray had taken one look at him and freaked out, which could only mean this man was probably... I crushed my cigarette in the nearest ashtray and headed for the exit. Oh, Ray. I didn't know where Ray had gone, so I went back to my apartment at the clinic. As I lay on the sofa and listened to the drone of the TV, my phone buzzed on the coffee table. I picked it up and checked the notif. It was a message from Ray. No! That was his entire message. Not Junko! No. He must have contacted Taku because I could hear a sudden commotion down on the first floor. No! When I arrived downstairs, the waiting room lights were on. Taku looked over at me wearing his lab coat and looking frazzled.
ああ、とは、純子が怪我をしたらしくてな。今こっちに向かってるそうだ。
レイから連絡があった。襲われたんだってな。
ああ、手伝ってもらうかもしれないから。
Okay, we're hanging, Taku. We're hanging. He nodded firmly, then sped off down the hall. So I sat on a bench and waited, just as I had been instructed. About 10 minutes later, I heard loud voices coming from the side entrance. And I heard the sound of someone running, and Taku appeared in the waiting room.
一緒に来てくれ。
He ran back down the hall. I rose to my feet and hurried after him. Rei was standing at the side entrance alongside Arata and Honami, who were currently supporting Junko's full weight. Honami stammered, tears in their eyes.
すぐに処置室へ運ぼう。
To the medical ward, Honami and Arata slowly eased Junko in through the door and headed to the elevator. Meanwhile, Taku, Rei, and I took the stairs up to meet them on the second floor. Once they laid Junko down on a medical bed, treatment began. Junko had gone limp, and their complexion was wan. Hardly a word was spoken between us. Taku gave the orders and we followed them. Once Junko was all patched up, the tension in the medical ward eased slightly. Junko now sat upright with a pillow for back support, staring down at the hands laced in their lap.
大丈夫?
Yeah, you okay, fam? Rei peered cautiously at Junko, who forced a smile.
大丈夫よ。
Not Junko.
確認のために聞きたいんだけど、純子を襲ったのはこの間の対戦相手だったのよね。
Yeah, probably.
10人はいたと思う。
10 guys.
全員黒い服を着てた。顔はよく見えなかったけど。
デスマッチエリアでやり合った連中かな。
Probably.
まだそうだと決まったわけじゃないけど。
I mean, they were pretty
可能
mad.
性は高いわね。
They're pretty mad.
やっぱりあいつら桐原の仲間なのかも。
Kidamizu like doesn't care though, like, you know. So I don't think Kidamizu cared that much. A heavy silence followed. I was leaning against the wall, watching from a distance, when my phone buzzed in my pants pocket. AG! Save us! Please give me the tea! I pulled it out to find that AG was calling me. I gestured to Taku to let him know I was stepping out, then went out into the hall.
Hi.
Moshi moshi?
もしもし、エイジです。
Yes. Speak to me. Speak to me.
少し気になることがあって
Talk to me.
電話したんですけど、前に教えた SNS ってまだ見てます？カオスゾーンって名前の。
No, but spill the tea.
Yeah.
I stopped checking it after Kirimizu. Sorry. How could I forget? Kirimizu. Kirimizu's euphoric
あの
episode.
倉庫を潰してから暴行パーティーの予告が書き込まれなくなって画像も上がらなくなってたんですけど、またアップされたんです、画像が。
Oh boy.
それでどうも被害者に見覚えがある気がして、もしかしたらルーストのスタッフなんじゃないかって思って連絡したんです。女装してる人で。
They're so respectful in this game of people's gender identity, and I love that. Even though Shinkomi is a lawless land, you know, they're still respectful with 3 C's. And I appreciate that.
本当ですか？
Oh no.
ってことは犯行後にすぐ画像をアップしたのか。
Oh boy.
黒服の集団にやられたって言ってる。
うわ、もしかしたら桐原にくっついてた仲間の仕業じゃないかって思ってたんですけど、本当にそうかもしれないですね。
Give me the tea. I need the other tea
勘
though.
弁してほしいですよね。こっちは組長のこともあってただでさえ大変なのに、これ以上面倒ごとを増やさないでほしいです。
Wait, the leader passed away. What? He let out an aggrieved sigh.
桐原周りは高里組の方で調べ上げてるんじゃないのか。
はい。でも組はもう桐原の件に関わらないと思います。主犯格は片付けたし、今は正直。
Oh, like the ringleader, not just Kirimizu.
ガキどもの喧嘩なんてほっとけって感じです。
Granted, I could understand how the Takasato Gumi would need to focus on the increasingly pressing issue of naming a successor.
やっぱりルーストのスタッフだったんですね。怪我はかなりひどいんですか？
Well, they're talking, so that's at
レイ
least.
の時ほどじゃないし、意識もある。
Yeah, Ray was pretty bad.
そうですか。それならまだ良かったかな。また何か気になることがあったら連絡します。
Yes, please. I need all the tea I can get, AG. Cool. After the phone call ended, I navigated to Chaos Zone on my phone. Sure enough, there were violent photos uploaded to to one of the chat's threads, and I could recognize the victim as Junko. There was something off about the photo this time around. Something different about the style. The angle, maybe. In all the past footage, the cameraman's obsession was blatantly obvious. Every shot was intensely calculated to suit his desires. This time around, it was clear at a glance that it was just a quick, thoughtless photo. Were they trying to imitate Kirimizu? If so, then maybe there was nothing to worry about. Sure, Ray and his friends would still be furious, but I wasn't concerned about a mere copycat group. I wedged my phone into the back pocket of my pants and returned to the medical ward. Ugh. Man, this is rough. Junko's injuries were by no means immobilizing, so Taku decided to drive them home in his car. The Narata, Honami, and Ray left too, so I went back to my place and hit the sofa. Slow damage. Alright. Okay. Whew, that was a doozy. Alright, so. Okay, so we've got a lot going on in this in this route. Not just this chapter, this whole route. So, as of now, Ray's route is super chaotic. Like, you know, Chaos Zone is correct. Chaos Zone is absolutely correct. There's a lot going on. I don't know why Ray's story is so buck wild, because at least with Taku, the story with Taku is like a little streamlined, if that makes sense, because it's like we went from Asakura and Taku's connection to Asakura, and then we went into the full story with Taku, and I felt like that streamlined better into itself, if that makes sense, because Taku's whole like getting paranoid about Toa, and then like being like, oh well, Toa is mine, etc. kind of thing, revealing that he is into Toa like that, you know. But Ray's story is a little all over the place. I want to see if it all kind of ties together pretty well, but there's a lot to keep track of with Ray. Ray has his like existential crisis, the deathmatch assault party dudes, his newfound debt because of his bum father, and then he has to deal with Toa, like. But you know, it's kind of a lot, I want to say, because I feel like with Taku there was like, it wasn't so erratic, but I think that's also kind of like the theme for Ray, is that like, it seems like the theme is that nothing is his fault, if that makes sense. It's like his issues stem from like childhood neglect / childhood emotional abuse and bullying because he's different from everyone else. Like, you know, again, he's like not full Japanese, he's half, and apparently he gets made fun of because of that. But also he has his like body modification art job. He works like 3 jobs basically. Like it's Rei's got a lot going on, and it's like I don't think he ever really learned how to filter his feelings, because that's why he goes to death matches. It's like his stress relief, because also he has like a lot of like super repressed anger issues, which we can tell. So but oh man, this chapter has been very depressing so far. Not fully, but it's like, dang, like Rei just can't catch a break, huh? At least with Taku he had like a couple breathers here and there, but he did put a web tag in Toa for no reason. But well, I know the reason, but he really shouldn't have done it. Yeah, that was a time, y'all. So but yeah, that was okay. That's Rei is a fascinating character, full gap moe type of beat. So apparently, I think I mentioned it earlier. So like, I guess the setup of Slow Damage is that Taku and Rei are childhood friends, but also like apparently the other two apparently everybody has known Toa since like for a long time, essentially. But because of the amnesia, Toa like barely remembers anything, so he's missing a lot of like memories that are probably very important, to everybody and him. But apparently he remembers Madarame, and I'm like, oh, he doesn't want to talk about Madarame? I'm ready for that chapter. Because so far Toa has been pretty like neutral, even with like Kirimizu, Asakura, and Ikuina. Like he's been very tame with those, like he's very kind of like apathetic-y. But when it came to Madarame, it was like he had like a visceral reaction, like as visceral as Toa can get, because he doesn't have much emotion in the first place. But oh man, this was a wild time. Rei's route is gonna get me buck wild, but at least it's not as stressful as Taku's at the moment. If anything, it's more like there's just a lot to unpack with Rei. I think that's what's happening here. There's so much to Rei's backstory and his route. It's that I think that's what's happening. It's like there's just so much to remember and to deal with and to process, and getting a 300 million debt. Like, oh man, I hope our boy can pull through. I hope we can make it happen for him. I feel so bad. Like, I feel so bad because it's like, yeah, he could just be like, chop off my dad because he's a bum, but he can't do that either, so because of his moral compass, Anyway, thank you guys always for watching my playthroughs of Slow Damage. It's been fun getting to see what you guys think too whenever I post up a new part to Slow Damage. I wish I could upload it a little faster, but I've got a lot to do. I just always have a lot to do, and so I just try to go as fast as I can with these uploads. So, and sometimes I have to edit them, so that's the main issue here. But yes, thank you guys again. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay well. Do not forget that my podcast, You Can Smooch Tho, about all things boys love and other related items, can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and maybe some other places too if we get a little lucky. But look forward to season 2, which should be airing later this year, but production is starting soon, so we'll see what happens there. Otherwise, thank you again, you guys. Please stay healthy, rest up, sleep well, wake up early, do your thing, and I'll see you guys in the next part. We're gonna get Rei out of here. We're gonna help our boy. I don't know how we're gonna help him, but it's gonna happen. So, all right, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. Good night. Night night.